particular PI website and check that how many citations or how many publications this person has made in the last 5 years. Either you enter into the PhD as GTA or GRA.
This thing was not when I was in school.
Yeah, same here. Understand the amount of pressure students have to make this publication. Do you want to drag yourself down into such a rabbit hole? Knowledge the fact about the discrimination. You have to see if it is a lab working with a positive environment or it is a pressure cooker.
Welcome to another interesting episode of Doctors of Animal Kingdom. Today we are sitting with Dr. Richa Tiwari, a veterinary epidemiologist and public health expert with a BVSc in AH from Nanaji Deshmukh Veterinary Science University and MVSc from Gadwasu. She has contributed to vocational education at NCRT and underwent a PhD, mentored DVM students at Oklahoma State University. Later, she dropped out of PhD to advance global health using biosciences and policy making at Rice University. Dr. Tiwari's journey is an example of resilience, innovation, and commitment to making a difference in policy making. Welcome to the show, Dr. Tiwari. First of all, how are you?
Thank you so much, the geek wet. And I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing also good. Welcome to the show, and I hope you are doing amazing.
Sorry, I missed it.
Am I not audible?
Yes, you are. Volume बहुत कम थी, so I just.
Okay, okay. So I hope you are doing well.
Yes, very well.
Great. Before we dive into this conversation, Dr. Tiwari has started a podcast Beyond Millions with Richie Rich to address life, healing, and more. Do check that out.
Thank you. Yes, and I'm going to talk about it a little more maybe by the end of the podcast.
Sure,
Uh,
sure, please. The
so yeah,
floor is all yours.
thank you. So, yeah, let's dig into the veterinary medicine questions. And I am all ears to you, and also I'm here to respond you. So, yes, tell me your question.
Thank you very much for taking out the time. The first question that I have, which I asked to all the guests I have interviewed so far, why you opted for veterinary sciences in the very first place?
So, yeah, that's a very good question because let me tell you that the time when I started pursuing BBSC, that was a time, that was a very different time. And at that time, people uh, didn't opt BBSC out of choice.
Yeah,
They used to opt for BBSC because everybody ambition and wanted to pursue MBBS, right? And if somehow you were not able to make to MBBS, you have to choose other fields like veterinary or dentistry or physiotherapy. But I would say that there was some, because I belong from a middle class family, there was some financial issues going on. And somehow I realized at a very young age that my parents cannot afford, the fees or the institutional charges if I want to be an MBBS, if I want to be the MBBS. But apart from that, I would say because my dad, he is also a vet. So my dad, he was working as an expert in the vaccine development institution. So from a very young age, it always fascinated me that how human beings, they are interdependent on the environment, on the animals, and the entire link of humans, animals, and environment, that really fascinated me, and I would say that that nudged me to the veterinary profession. So yes, I wanted to know about how millions of cells, or billions of cells, they can make a tissue, they can make an organ, and how we are dependent on animals for everything. So I pursued my journey in BVSC, and so I did complete my BVSC from Nanaji Deshmukh University, Mahu Veterinary College, and then I went for my masters in public health and epidemiology, which was at School of Zoonosis and Public Health in Gadwasu, Guru Angad Dev University, Ludhiana. That was a wonderful experience. I learned a lot. I did face a lot of challenges, but at the end, I would say that I emerged out beautifully out of that.
great.
Yeah.
Before we go to your PG education and PhD, I want to dial a little back to your college days. What was that thing that inspired you to go for public health? I don't know if it was your first choice or not, because many people I know and I see, they want to become clinician, right? When you think
Right.
veterinarian, clinicians come to a second mind, like you want to get into veterinary
Yes.
surgery, right? Medicine or gynecology.
Mhm.
Why you went for public health, or what inspired you to do pursue same?
Okay. So let me answer very honestly. There was no
Y-
inspiration.
Okay.
There was no inspiration associated for doing a specialization in public health. And here is the reason. So when I discussed this with a bunch of professors that I want to definitely go for a master's for a specialization, but what would you suggest me? And everybody was
Okay.
like, opt for clinical subjects, you know, either go for medicine, surgery, gynecology, because until and unless you wear a white coat, you will not be seen as a vet doctor. And the charm of a doctor only comes when he works in a clinics. So he said that people in the paraclinical fields, they're not much respected. What you will do in a lab?
Mm,
So I was like, okay. And although and like other students, I qualified the ICAR
yeah.
PG entrance exam. My all India ranking was 70, which like didn't really help me much to make to IVRI to opt for clinical subjects. But then just I would say that was a random decision, or accidentally I just opted for public health. I didn't like it for like my entire 2 years of MVSC. I didn't like it. I didn't.
Okay.
I just I because I would say everything was fed into my mind, and it was right there that why I am doing this thing when I will not be respected by the society, where I will not be respected by other veterinary professions, because the professors, they always like kept telling me. And I was a merit scholar student. I was very good in my studies, so I kept taking advice from the professors, from time to time. And every time I talked to them, they were like, public health is not a field of doing something great. You will not go further in your life with this public health. But then the day I started enjoying my lab work, the day I started, I thought one day that, okay, either I have to hate this profession or either I have to love this profession. So it is
Yeah.
better if I go on the positive side. And I
Correct.
thought it's easy to perform surgeries on animals because, yes, you can see them with your naked eyes, they are gross bodies. But extracting the DNA, working on the DNA, RNA, all the genetic material, the chromosomes, and playing with that in such a tiny pathogen which is not visible through naked eyes. And I thought, why why I need other people to respect me? Because unless I respect my profession, because I'm doing a great job, and it's not easy uh, to work in a lab with such a contamination, with such highly pathogenic microorganisms. So I developed this respecting strategy for myself and started loving my profession. And I would say later in my life, I saw the implications of public health, because I think public health zoonosis, it's the emerging field. It will always be an emerging
Yes.
field, and it is one of the very critical field, very critical area, very important area, because I think after the world experience the COVID-19 pandemic, we all know the importance of public
Mhm.
health, we all know the importance of zoonosis, we all know the importance of health policy.
Right.
Also, I believe that, you know addressing the zoonotic diseases or addressing the public health challenges and concerns, it is not just a health priority. I would say it is a global responsibility.
Okay.
So, um, like if you have noticed that whenever there is an outbreak, nature has its own way to whisper its warnings before it makes a large roar.
Have a
And
yeah.
it is our responsibility. It is human beings' responsibility to listen to it and then act accordingly. All the outbreaks happening, all the zoonosis, all the public health challenges, I always believe in one thing, that zoonotic diseases do not respect any border. you know.
Yeah, they don't.
In fact, they
Yes,
challenge you to think globally, to act locally, and to collaborate universally.
indeed, indeed. But you mentioned about respecting the profession. The main issue, even I see, even in times, I don't know, long back you graduated, you did your PhD. I am not saying that you are old, but the mindset is still the same. There are a lot of veterinarians who are about to
Yes,
graduate, who have graduated, who even have PhDs. They don't respect the profession. How can you say how it will change? Like veterinarians now are on the global verge. They are in the epicenter. The importance because of the One Health is coming up, right? A lot of funding is being poured because you said pandemic what happened, and it is being now talked antimicrobial resistance, not
yes.
only in veterinary perspective, also human perspective, also in human medicine also. So how that grooming can be changed, because we think like we are treating animals like a majority, I'll say,
Mhm.
because the encounters I have, they are getting good money, their salaries is being paid from this profession only, but they don't respect how they can change and how they cannot transfer. I know it's a big challenge to address this thing as a globally, because individuals also have their experiences, good and bad. So how it can be changed, that perception that veterinary is only limited to treating animal, or until unless you are in a white coat treating animal, you are a
Yes.
doctor, how that perception can be changed? Please, your take on this.
You addressed it very beautifully. And let me tell you that, yes, when I was a BVSC or MVSC student, even now, I see that in India, this
Yeah.
veterinary profession is associated with shame. Like, there are families,
Yes,
which look at
yes.
this profession with shame and disrespect. And last year when I was in India, there were two young girls, living in a city area. I'm not talking about the remote areas. Living in the city, they came to me to seek my guidance that they want to make their career in veterinary profession. And they were a high school student, and after the high school, they had a fixed target ambition that, yes, I want to be a vet doctor. And I guided them entirely. The next day, the parents of both the children, they came to me and they said, your profession is associated with shame, and we don't want our girls to be disrespectful, to be treated in a very disrespectful way by the society. You are just an animal doctor, you don't earn any money, there is no fixed amount of salary, there is no respect. And I was shocked, because, like, it is 2024, people living in the cities, they have such mentalities. So and they don't want their children to opt for this career. So tell me how to address this issue, because that, then I would say that start we have to start from the very basic root level, educating. And that's why I say community outreach and community engagement and education is very important. you know
Exactly,
you
exactly.
have to first provide that basic education and free other people from this mentality, because none of the profession in this world is associated with shame. None of the profession can be seen with disrespectful eyes. Every profession has its own beauty. It's on you how you take it. So
Right.
as I started digging deep into this public health, I understood that uh, public health and health policy, they go hand in hand. And they are public health and health policy, they are need of an hour today. They are need of an hour.
Exactly.
um, like, the One Health methodologies, the One Health framework, along with the regulatory guidelines, they are important to implement, so that we can dismantle the existing barriers, or we can dismantle the complex determinants of health today. Otherwise, how would you target? And this notion, one health, one world, it arises because you see three sectors combines here: the veterinary science, humans, and the environmental sectors.
Environmental, yeah.
So we need collaboration among the veterinary experts, among the public health officials working in the human side, and the environmental scientist. And that's how it forms a complete circle of one health.
Yes.
So unless all the three sectors combine, they collaborate, how can you mitigate the complex health challenges? Also, after the world has experienced such a dreadful impact of COVID-19, you know, and I guess this pandemic at least have given people a thought that public health is important.
Important.
Public health is need of an hour today.
Yes.
You have to think about it. Otherwise, like people will keep choosing the profession based on um how society looks onto them,
Mm-hmm.
because society has a way to give a certain amount of respect to each profession.
Yes.
People in the white coat, yes, they are respected a lot. What about the veterinarians? Veterinarians are respected till they wear the white coat and they come out in the field to treat the animals. But what about the people working in the labs? Because I think they are doing the equally important job of making
Yes.
pathogen, of building pathogens. When I was in Oklahoma State University, I was making coronaviruses in lab. I was creating mutations in them. And when I had the virus sample ready with me, I used to transfect into the human cells, into the piglets, to study the entire pathogenesis and to study all the immunogenicity so that we can make vaccines out of them. It's a huge task, it's a huge responsibility, and that's why I say public health is not just a health priority, it is a global responsibility. And we have to change our narratives. We have
Right.
to think, and we have to take a turn towards a viable education path.
Exactly. Exactly. But the big challenge I see here, the discussion of One Health is happening in some lab or somewhere, right? And it's more majorly technical, right? Scientists or environmentalists, veterinary experts, it's all technical. How can we make it very much palatable for the majority of the population, which is, let's say, which are not very much into scientific thinking? How can we make it very much palatable for the majority population for the consumption, so they become aware, right? Because there are a lot of things which happened during COVID-19. A lot of misconceptions were there, right?
Yes.
Related to poultry, and there was a major economic loss also, and now even influenza has entered in human. Even though people are not very much aware, this is not being discussed. How one event which is happening in a state, supposedly, let's say Texas for a uh, example, if something is happening in Texas, like this case of avian influenza in human, how a person sitting in Northeast India can become, and they can use this information so they can become conscious ki, okay, this thing has happened, now I need to take some precautions. How we can make this very much palatable for the majority population? What's your take on this thing?
The very first step, I would say, is community outreach, community
Okay.
engagement, and community education.
All right.
From training to the animal farmers, to the pet owners, to the wildlife traders.
Okay.
It's a huge spread.
Yeah.
So training every person and providing the basic education, also enhancing the biosecurity measures and teaching about the how biosecurity measures can help prevent the spread of zoonotic diseases. It's very important. Unless you teach the community about that, I think there should be camps which should be organized, and most of the people, they just directly go and hit the complicated, I would say, the complicated facts about the diseases.
Okay.
If you're doing the community outreach, just teach them about the basic fundas, just teach them about the basics of any of the disease and what preventive measures they can take. Explain them that why vaccines are important and what role vaccine play in building up your immunity, not in a complicated scientific way, but in a layman language. Because in this country, you have to, like, I would say, in any of the country, not everybody is scientist, not everybody is working in the lab, not everybody is a doctor, so none of the people will understand the technical language if we'll try to explain them.
Yes,
So
that's a
instead of
major problem. Yeah.
Right. So instead, when the vaccines came out for COVID-19, I heard some of the people telling their
Infertility.
yeah, people telling their neighbors and friends that it targets your cytotoxic T cells, and that's how you make the bunch of memory cells and it makes the interferon gamma. How would the like people,
Non-science background.
yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
nonsense background people, how they will understand such language?
Exactly.
Forget about the cytotoxic T cell. It's for you.
Yes.
But you have to reach out to them in a layman language and explain the foundations of that, explain the principles of that, explain the importance of that. And I guess people are ready to grab the actual information you are giving them instead of the complicated information. Also, there
Exactly.
is so much of misinformation in the market. There is misleading, you know,
Yes. A
because
big,
that,
big issue.
yeah, because there is no real time data reporting. We need real time data reporting. We need to track down the information, that how it is passed on to the people and how many people they are actually responding. We never track down any data. I believe that
Hmm.
personally. Even yes, for the official documentation or paperwork, you can say or you can write that the we have tracked the data and it is this and this, but there is no real time data reporting. Because if we are really involved in actual tracking of the data and giving that transparency, between the public and the health officials, if you maintain that transparency, uh, public health officials know that the situation will be a lot more chaotic.
Yeah.
So I think, because they had to handle the crowd, they had to handle the entire nation, or even at global level. So they hide certain amount of data, but then that's how that builds mistrust in the public.
Hmm.
Public do not trust you because you're not giving the actual data. When the vaccine came out, most of the people do not know that how it worked. The information was not given. It was just like it will kill the virus. How it
Yeah.
will kill the virus, nobody said that. There was even misinformation that this vaccine is giving you heart attacks, the vaccine is giving you the deaths.
Yeah.
People started getting scared. So there has to be transparent data sharing.
Exactly. And we need spokesperson of these vaccine companies or like health organizations. They need to address these the queries of the population. They need to be addressed, right? If they have this thing, they either they're going to be two things. First thing, they will hamper your vaccine program. You'll not be able to eradicate the problem or any disease per se. COVID-19 as an example. And the second thing, placebo effect might set up. They have the fear, ki, okay, this thing will happen. Heart attacks, you mentioned. Infertility was a big thing. Ki, okay,
Yes.
infertility will happen. You will die. Right.
Hmm.
So it might happen because in psychology, there is a saying, brain cells that fire together, wire together. What you are thinking, it will
Right.
become more highlighted. It will become more in your brain. So these challenges needs to be addressed very much by the public health speakers or
Yeah. Even
spokesperson
in
from the
the,
health
even
organization.
yes, even in the educational settings, I would say that uh, there are so many books and so many subjects we teach to the kids. We teach to the students, but there is no classes or no such textbook on, just I would say, low cost effective measures, how to include into your life,
Yes,
how to include biosecurity measures. And that is important because, like you said, we have to build up, one small step at a time, and that's how we will reach a large portion of human beings, a large portion of the country, to
right.
address such targets.
Exactly.
Also, we have to enhance the integrated surveillance system,
Okay.
and I will talk about it like in some of the topics.
Sure, sure, sure. Now, I want to. We have talked a lot about the public health issues, and you gave a lot of insights why it is important to accept the non-clinical subjects as well, especially public health. From this conversation, I'd like to dial a little back towards your PG research. You're working on zoonotic Listeria monocytogenes. How I want to, can you break down what goes in a PG program? Like someone, because a lot of UG undergrads, they want to get into PG and how they can. And one more thing, should you choose a good college with a bad department? or should you go to a bad college with a good department of your choice, like someone who's interested in surgery and that university does not have a good surgery department, they should go because of the big name of the university, or to some okayish university with low ranking but a good surgery department? Can you address these two things, please?
I would say that's a beautiful question. I wish somebody would have asked me that, or somebody would have guided me for this question. So, first, starting from students after BBSc, they want to pursue MBSc, right?
Yes.
The biggest mistake every student does is thinking that MVSC, it's like it will give you the research title. You will become a
Mm.
researcher, you will work in big labs, you will build some fancy pathogens, and they forget it's about discovery. It's not about investigation. You are not investigating anything, you are just discovering what the seniors did. You are just discovering what other scientists did in their field or in that subject, and if you want to uptake that to a further level. And so the biggest mistake a student does as soon as they enter into the MVSC program, when the advisor gives them a bunch of topics so that they can choose for their research subject, they will choose the most complicated and the most challenging one. Because
Okay.
yeah, because at that age, I would say, during that 20, in between of 20 to 25 years, um, you have young blood, young hot blood. You want to explore all.
Adrenaline
Yeah,
rush.
you had that adrenaline rush. You want to prove yourself to all the people out there that you have
I'm
the
a top
proof.
researcher.
I want to be a top researcher, I want to be a top scientist. So the students choose the most tough and the most challenging topic, and then they fail. I would say, just like, you cannot even imagine how they fail in achieving the target or in achieving that
Hmm.
the goal of the project. So always choose for the easy project, not very complicated. Choose for the project which had fewer sample size in your research, rather than choosing a project with a great sample size of 2000, 3000 samples. You will be exhausted early. And MVSE doesn't make you a research scientist. It just gives you a
A step.
foundation. It just
Hmm.
prepares you where you learn about the basic principles of working in a lab. You learn about the basics of handling all the equipments in a lab, so that if you want to further go for PhD, you can do it more effectively on a broader level.
All right.
But we all have that enthusiasm in that age, and we always go for the wrong path. And if any of your colleague is doing a research study with 50 sample size or 100 sample size, we look down upon that person thinking that it's not a research, you know. So this is very wrong. This is very wrong. Like,
Hmm.
I think there is so much lack of knowledge in veterinary profession. And I personally believe that if we are trained in a much better, effective way, if we are given that guidance right from the beginning, like right from the, I would say, second or third year of BVSC, that would be beneficial for all the veterinarians, so that they can choose their career paths, more logically and mindfully, I would say.
Okay.
So this is the biggest mistake, like choosing the wrong project. The second mistake, choosing the wrong PI and the wrong lab. As you said, do not go for the fancy university with a bad lab or the with a toxic lab. Doesn't matter, the university or the college ranking is low, but if that lab is good, if it is positive, if it has that positive vibe and environment, go for it. Do not
Okay.
go for the highest rank university or some fancy university with a bad lab reputation or bad PI reputation. And that is very important, because yes, academic life is toxic, whether in veterinary science or whether in medical science. Academic life, academia is very toxic, because in India or in any of the foreign country, I would say, especially I would talk about US, because I have seen the culture, the work culture here now. We have such intense pressure to excel academically, And in that intense pressure, you just lose yourself. Students become hopeless, you know, they lose the power of autonomy. The-
Hmm.
and that's how you will see that there are various mental health challenges,
Right.
you know.
Exactly.
I can take your question forward by talking more about the toxicities in labs if you want me, or if you want me I
We
can.
we will discuss about mental health and toxicity in the later part of this discussion, because I want to address right now more on the constructive side because of the PG,
Okay.
and right, everyone is very much enthusiastic. I really want to address these toxicities and mental health issues because veterinarians are at a very high risk of suicide and suicidal ideation, along with other anxiety disorders as well, because we deal with euthanasia also. So we will be discussing that in the later part of our conversation.
Yeah, and also I want to focus on not just academic toxicity in foreign countries. It is also prevailing in India. I have myself suffered toxicity in labs in India, you know. So yes, I would like to address even that, because students, when choosing MVSC, and especially if you are working in the lab,
Mhm.
um, even at that time, it is very important to seek out information about the principal investigators, the PI of the lab. It is very important. And most of us, most of the students live in a denial phase. We don't acknowledge the discrimination happening to us. We don't acknowledge the biasness happening towards us. You know, it can be very clearly implicit biasness,
Right.
but we live in such a denial phase, and as I said, in that age, students have this passion and enthusiasm for achieving the targets, for achieving the ambition, and making their CV a little more wide. So they go to such toxic labs, and they are ready to suffer this toxicity, and they don't realize it until very late in their life. They don't realize it.
How much damage they have become.
Yes, because the more time you will take, you know, in acknowledging what's happening with you, the more time it will take for the contentment, I would say.
Okay. Okay. Now, moving forwards towards your journey as a researcher, after you did your PG, you went to work with the NCERT, and side by side you
Yes.
were applying for PhD. So I want to address the NCRT and vocational education part, and then come to your PhD journey, how you started, why, what inspired you to pursue veterinary public health, which you were not interested or you don't want it to do in the very beginning. So how this NCERT journey, how you transitioned after how you got into the job, what was your job profile,
Mhm.
what thing you it changed you as a person, as a researcher, or as a PG you have completed as a researcher. Let's call you a researcher. You have a master's degree. As a researcher, what changed you in that perception of education?
Okay. So, first of all, like after, I will start this by saying that as I finished my master's, I was working as a junior research fellow in veterinary pathology labs. I also worked as a junior research fellow in veterinary medicine, handling all the cases, you know. And then through the advertise, like I always say that nobody comes to you with
You
a
will need
plate
to
full of
go.
opportunities that here is the job vacancy, please apply to it. You have to dedicate at least 1 hour every day to search, you know, what are the different disciplines you can move around and play around, which are linked to the veterinary science professions. So I was very much into researching. I always kept on researching, like, what are the other institutions where I can explore and that can provide me the opportunity to grow. And then I got to know that there is a vacancy in vocational education institute, like that is known as CIVE, Central Institute of Vocational Education, which is a constituent unit of NCRT. And that's how I applied for it. So I read a lot about what is vocational education. So I started working with PSSCIV, Pandit Sundarlal Sharma Central Institute of Vocational Education, which is a constituent unit of NCRT. And I guess it was established in 1993 by Ministry of Education, Government of India.
All right.
And this vocational education, what is this? It is basically skill based learning. So this all the vocational education institute, you know, as I said, that they are a constituent unit of NCRT, and there are many constituent units of NCRT. Like, for example, there is RIE Ajmer, RIE, Regional Institute of Education. There is RIE Bhopal. There is CIET, New Delhi, Central Institute of Education and Technology. And there are 7 to 8 constituent units of NCRT. And every institution has various academic disciplines or divisions where you can go work with them. You can build your career, you can have different opportunities, and they will add diversity to your veterinary profession. So I would say I was a researcher turned into an educationalist. Now, there are various departments inside the vocational education institutes. Like, there are departments such as Department of Agriculture and Animal Husbandry. There is Department of Business and Commerce. There is Department of Engineering and Technology. There is Department of Health and Paramedical Sciences. There is Department of Hospitality Management. There is Department of Fashion Designing. So there are various departments. Now you align your interest, like in what field you want to work. So as I was a public health specialized student, as I was a public health scholar, so I applied in the Department of Agriculture and Animal Husbandry, because we all know that agriculture is the backbone of Indian economy, right?
Yes.
And animal husbandry is linked to the agriculture. Now
Yeah,
what
both
they
go
do,
hand in hand.
yes, so now what they do in the vocational institutes. So um, I was involved in preparing and developing the courseware. I was involved in preparing the e-learning materials. I was involved in writing the curriculums for classes 9, 10th, 11th, and 12th for all the CBSE schools which have NCRT based educational approach. So I wrote various textbooks from classes 9 to 10th for various CBSE schools all over the India. So it gives you I would say, a wide ground to play with your skills. That improves a lot of your writing skills. Like, if you are good in writing, so
Hmm.
I always had a fond of writing, like this passion of writing, and I was always fond of writing, and I think my writing skills, like, they are good.
Great.
So NCRT played a very important role because it helped me build that those analytical skills, and I enhanced my writing skills because I wrote textbooks. So I was basically working with writing vocational education books on veterinary science. Now, what that does, many schools, I think in today's time, most of the CBSE schools, they have vocational education involved in that structure, where
Right.
students are learning about different subjects like maths, physics, Hindi, English, chemistry. Along with that, they can study vocational books, textbooks, which are written by the experts of that area. So I was working as an expert in veterinary science, and I wrote the veterinary science books. For example, let me give you an example. I wrote a
Please.
textbook for class 10th, which is known as um, Animal Health Worker. And in that book I made certain changes, because when I saw the last year last like when I saw the previous book, which was previously written by some veterinary expert, I found that there was some information which was lacking, and I thought to include that, and I changed the entire edition of that book. So I wrote it from scratch. So in that animal health worker, like, I included chapters about how to restrain farm animals, because remember, not every child is coming from a financially sound background. There are many students who are coming from village to study. There are many
Right.
students in the schools coming from remote areas. There are students whose parents have profession of animal husbandry, who rear cattle and who own a farm, a dairy farm. And when a child sees his dad or mom doing this cattle farming from a very young age, Maybe that child wants to become a veterinarian, but
Right.
that child doesn't have a proper guidance. And now here comes the role of vocational education in
Education.
training that child about that thing. So, the textbooks include chapters like restraining farm animals, what are different methods to restrain them, how do you perform the deworming and control the ectoparasites on animals, then the difference between the infectious and the non-infectious disease of animals. What are zoonotic diseases? What is the One Health approach? And diseases differentiation, like what is anthrax, what is black
Right.
water, what is enterotoxemia, what is actinobacillosis.
Yes.
Then there are chapters where if a child or his family own a cattle farm and they see a prolapse like the rectal prolapse, uterine prolapse, so a basic knowledge, a basic foundation of what is prolapse and how to treat them, how to perform vaccinations on animals for different diseases, how to control foot and mouth disease. So the very basic things so that a child can learn right from the ninth class. And such children, they have such a strong foundation when they read about the veterinary science. Like imagine a child reading about all the veterinary science stuff right from the ninth class till the 12th class, he or she will become almost like half of the
Like an
expert.
expert. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because we teach them how to handle cases of dystocia, parturition, and we take them to the vocational institutes take the students for a tour on different veterinary farms and different veterinary hospitals where they learn basic surgeries and performing the suturing skills, you know, on live animal or while performing surgeries. So that prepares a student for future. And especially, I would mention here Tanuvas, Tamil Nadu
Yes.
Veterinary Science College. They have 5% seats reserved for the students who have opted for vocational education. So
Okay.
yes, so Tanuvas has 5% seat reserved for the vocational education sector students. So if a student has studied in ninth or 10th class, he can easily get a seat in Tamil Nadu Veterinary College. So that
It's a big
prepares.
name. It's a
Yes,
big
so this
name,
vocational
Tanuvas.
this vocational education prepares students for I would say for the good opportunities. And today you see in the job market, it is taking a major shift. The job market is taking a major shift. The world is changing rapidly, and now we are focusing more on skill centric employment, you know.
Yes, we are. Yeah.
So rather than involved in the theoretical knowledge, we are focusing more on skill centric employment. And I think yes, our narrative has to be changed. We, as I said, the education system needs to be more viable. We have to see it from different lenses now,
Right.
because every company, industry, they want people who can have more skills rather than a theoretical knowledge where you cannot just perform anything. So we need people with skills, and this vocational education gives students all the platform. And similarly, if say any of the student is interested in tailoring, like stitching clothes, they can become fashion designer. So we have textbooks written by the fashion designer experts from class 9 to 10, and we teach them about all the foundation, like institutes teach them about all this like fashion designing from 9 to 12. And so that that student, after just after passing the high school, he
Nice.
can go into fashion designing, he can become an astronaut, he can become a physicist. So there are various disciplines. If a student wants to become an engineer, there are vocational textbooks written by the experts in engineering.
Nice.
So
Why this thing was not when I was in school?
yeah, same here.
Sad life. All right, no issues. Now you had an amazing experience with NCRT. It shaped you as a writer. Now I want to go back towards your PhD journey. Right? When was the time you decided you want to pursue PhD and that from abroad? And I want you to break down it into two parts, like the pre-PhD preparation things, like
Mhm.
from the start, what all is required, right? How to do the research for your lab or the university, what all is required, the visa processing, and how
Mhm.
to select a lab, about the research. And then the post PhD thing, what are the things they need to keep in mind when they start their work in the lab as a PhD? GTA is there, GRA, right? So let's discuss with the pre PhD things.
Okay, so I was always determined that I want to pursue a PhD from abroad
All right.
and from a good university. And as I said, that the enthusiasm was at its peak. Every student wants to pursue PhD from a high ranking profile university, from a fancy university. You know, there are some students who even like think about going to Oxford and Harvard.
Yes.
So, yes, like other students, I had a clear vision that I want to pursue my PhD from a university based in United States of America. And I started my preparation, I would say, right after my MBSc. I finished my master's and I started writing the SOPs. I started reaching out to the professors in different labs. You will not believe it took me 2 years to get a admission. It's a long journey. You know,
Yeah,
you
it's a very
have
long
to,
process.
yes, you have to keep your hunt on. You have to keep your motivation high always. Doesn't matter how much rejections you get. And I was so
Yes.
determined to it. And but side by side, I was continuing my job. I was working as a junior research fellow. I was later on. I was even working with NCRT. So like balancing both my personal desires and my professional life. I was balancing both the things. Um, the guidance was not clear. It was because in veterinary profession there is, as I always say, there is a lack. There is there are big lacunae, you know, when you talk about the guidance, because there is no proper path, no proper way to guide a student that how to approach abroad universities, how to approach professors based in abroad universities.
Right.
So I did make a lot of mistakes. The very first thing, when you start applying to foreign universities, so students, again, they do a biggest mistake. What they will do, they will go on the website of, let's say, any university you want to apply. They will
Cornell.
fill out the application form. You know, they will fill out
Yeah.
the application form, they will submit it. That will cost them $60, $70. Some
Yeah.
students, they make huge investments. I have
Yes.
seen some of my friends, I have seen some of my colleagues spending like 10 lakhs or 20 lakhs in applications, and that is just a total waste of money. Because the very first step is reach out the professors first. See that your research interest align well with that particular lab you are targeting. So let's say I want to study tuberculosis, so I
Hmm.
will reach out to the labs, or I will reach out to the professors who are working on tuberculosis and who have projects aligned to my to the interest which matches mine.
Yeah.
And there is a way to write an email to a professor. Now
Yes.
here, I have read some of the emails sent by the students. You have to be very professional and assertive while you're writing the email to any of the professors. Students write in such an unprofessional way, and you know, it shows that you are desperate to just to get that lab. The unprofessional language that, hello professor, I want you to take me in your lab, please take me in your lab. This is not a way to write. It's like you are ordering them. So
Hmm.
there has to be basic manners, professionalism while you are writing. And because I have observed that many students in the veterinary science, you know, they come from remote areas. Not everybody
Yes.
is strong in English, not everybody is very well versed with English. So
Right.
the very first step is practice writing emails, or you can, nowadays you can autocorrect through AI, you
Yeah.
know. There
Yes.
is Grammarly, there is AI powered tools where you can just autocorrect them. Or you can just go and check out, like on Google, there are various.
Template, email templates.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
second thing is, if you are emailing the professors, don't email them on different times. Like make sure that while you are emailing them, it's morning in that country.
Okay.
So I used to sit for the entire night, for that entire stretch. I used to stay awake from 9 p.m. to till 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. in the morning. I didn't sleep for entire 2 years because you have to make sure that whenever you are emailing the professor, he gets your email on the right time. If you will email them on based on your comfort, like let's say you are emailing to the professor during the morning hours as per the Indian timing. It would be night in some other country,
Right.
whichever country you're targeting, USA, England, Australia, New Zealand. And if it's night there, and professors in abroad countries, they get thousands of emails every day.
Emails.
Your email will
Yes.
be lost in a bunch of, in a huge sample. And maybe the professor will not get the opportunity to see your email. And you want that professor to see your email and respond it. Now, because professors are very busy, sometimes they take time. Sometimes they take 2 weeks of time or 3 weeks of time to respond to your email. Don't be in a hurry. Don't sound desperate. I see some students, they just imagine, or they just expect to get the reply from any professor just in 5 minutes, in half an hour. That is not
No,
possible.
obviously not possible.
Yeah, so you have to give it time, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. If that professor is not responding you, say in 3 4 weeks, just send a gentle reminder that, dear professor, here is a kind reminder. And or whenever you are sending a second email or third email, always send it into that loop of previous emails. Do not make a new fresh
You,
email. Again, it will
yeah,
be
there
lost.
is this reply to all and forward message if you go
Yes,
to
so
that
you have to
email. Yeah.
always carry forward your emails in a loop.
Right.
And after 3 weeks, just send a kind, gentle reminder. If that professor doesn't reply, don't make it a big issue. You know, don't sound desperate. Some students even start writing negative to the professors, that how can you do this to me? I didn't expect, this is not behavior I expected. You should not be rude. You have a lot of
Mm,
ego. You are proud of yourself. None of the professor asks for your advice.
yeah.
And if you like, if students make such behavior, what do you think? That professor will not discuss about you? That professor will discuss about your behavior to some other professor while meeting, that I received a mail from India with one of the
Yeah.
students saying this. And that's how I see most of the foreign country professors. They are reluctant in taking Indian students because they believe that Indian students will create a mess here. You know, they will create all the drama here. So
Mm,
you have to keep that professionalism. You have to keep that basic mannerism while writing the emails. That is one thing. Secondly, work on your SOPs, statement of purpose.
purpose.
There are various samples on Google. Just go on it, read two or three or four SOPs to get an idea like how to write it. And there is a basic structure, like you write the introduction. Now many students, again, what mistake they do is they describe their entire CV into the SOP. I did my BVSC from here, I did my MVSC, after my MVSC I worked here, I did this, I did that. You have to keep your SOP as a statement. That is not your resume, because while you are uploading your application, you are attaching your SOP and you are
To the
attaching your resume.
CV.
If
Yes.
both of the document look same, nobody will be interested in taking you as a student, because your writing skills that decide a lot for you. When there is a when there is a academically, when a committee sits for deciding the application of students, your writing skills matter a lot. And nowadays you have chat gpt. I'm not saying copy paste the entire thing from a chat gpt,
They
but
use
I'm saying,
Turnitin, guys. They use Turnitin, having worked with an academic setting. I know they use
yeah,
Turnitin, so
but
please be cautious.
yeah, you can, but you can take an idea.
Yes.
AI technology, it's a good thing if you take it positively, and
Indeed.
if you try to benefit from them, instead of
Copy
stop
pasting.
if you stop using your mind. Because how AI would know what achievements you made, what are the credentials you achieved, what were the like biggest challenges of your life, or what were the like positive sides of your entire professional life. So ChatGPT cannot write that. Take an idea from that, but write in your own words. You can always autocorrect through
Yeah.
ChatGPT, because
Right.
ChatGPT or Grammarly, it can always I would say rectify it. If you are confused between the present tense, future tense, past tense, it can always correct the grammar, English grammar, and everything. So, writing SOP is a big thing. Now, many people, if you talk to many of the seniors or people who have experience with the PhD applications, they will try to scare you saying that you need months in writing SOPs, like you need months of practice. No,
Mm,
if you will
okay.
sit for 3 hours, 2 hours, you can write a very good, effective SOP. You do not need months, you do not need days, you do not need 5 months or 1 year to write SOP. I meet many students where they say, I'm writing my statement of purpose since 3 months and I do not think it's still ready. You are just delaying your process.
Right.
Sit for 3 hours with a calm mind, read some samples. Automatically you will start getting those sentences in your head that, okay, I have to put this, I have to put that, I have to make my journey. So in a statement of purpose, you share your journey and your motivation for future, that how you would take this research for further future work, and
Hmm.
how your collaboration or how your cooperation and commitment into that can make you an asset to that university. You don't have to explain your CV into that. So there is a way to write that. And that is a big thing, because your SOP, I would say, that is a critical factor that decides whether you are accepted in a foreign university or not. You can always take help from seniors whose English are good and who are good in English, and they can always suggest you some edits. Because I used to do that. I used to seek some guidance. Although my English was good, but I was aiming to get better with that. And I always used to seek help from the seniors, saying that, can you please suggest me some edits. Do not go and order some senior that, here is
Yeah.
my rough draft, please make the final edits and do this for me. Nobody is free in today's time, right?
Right.
So yes, writing SOP, a good SOP. And most importantly, do not go for big complex English words.
Keep it
Look for
simple.
simple English. If you will write in a simple English, that so that everybody can understand it. Because uh, if you will write your SOP in such a high advanced complex English, the deciding committee will understand that you have copy pasted from somewhere else. That
Yes.
is not your own writings. um, Publications also play a very important role in deciding your application. If you have, now there is no fixed amount of publication. There is, I mean, nowhere it is written that you need this explicit amount of publications to get an admission in a foreign university. But if you have publication, it is a good thing. It can always strengthen your application. Now, the very first step, reach out to the professor. And if you maintain that professionalism and ethical standards, the professor can reach out to you. He can take 2 weeks, 3 weeks. They will ask you for a Zoom meeting, so that they can interact with you. They can know you in a much better way. They can know your ambition. They can know what do you want to do in future. So while you are writing email to the professor, always write in such a way where they feel that yes, you are enthusiastic and you are passionate about the research lab. That, hello, Dr. Steven, for example, I'm really passionate and enthusiastic to carry forward my research in a lab. And always mention that, I served for your lab, and I read about all the publications you made this year. Once one of the publication which really fascinated me was title,
This.
this is XYZ. Mention about some of the research they do, some of the techniques they do, and how you would want to uptake that into your future project. So it is always good to read about, like, before writing an email, it is always good to read about some of the publication and Google their lab, what kind of work they are doing, on what pathogen they are doing, what animals they are using, what cells they
Technologies
are.
they are using.
Yes. And if you mention that, the professor will feel that, okay, the student is well versed, he or she knows a little about my lab you
Hmm.
know
Right.
So अंधेरे में तीर नहीं चलाना है. The concept is this. And the professor reaches out to you, you make a Zoom meeting, and if the professor likes interacting with you, he will say that, okay, now proceed with the application. That is the right time
Time.
to go and fill out your application. Do not do it in advance. Like, the major step is meeting the professor
So
and take and taking its permission, or I would say taking its acceptance, that okay,
Yeah.
you seem to me as a good student, enthusiastic student, I would like to have you in my lab. When a professor says this, that is the time, the
Time to
right time
lodge the
to start with your
application.
application. So I think I made a lot of mistakes, because I didn't fill much of the application form, but I did start writing my application for 2 or 3 universities. It is a waste of time. Another thing, which is a big business market now, there are various visa consultancies which will tell you, come to us with 70,000, 80,000, or 1 lakh. We will write SOP for you, we will write a good CV for you, we will fill out your application form, and we will
Apply.
yeah, we will also write recommendation letters for you. It is a big business in the market. You do not need any visa consultancies. Students go and they invest their lakhs of rupees so that the other person can write SOP. Seriously, just sit for
Mm,
2 hours and you yourself can write an excellent SOP. You do not need any visa consultancy. How would they know about all the credential of all the hard work you have done in your 5 years or in your
right.
7 years of your life? You know, you cannot. You can write your own story. Like, you are the author of your own script. Nobody else is the author of your story. So this is the major problem, I would say. And this is how the visa consultancies are earning, and they are taking advantage of all the students. Because if anybody is weak in English, if they doesn't have a command on language, they usually, they think that I'll just invest 1 lakh rupees, because
Yeah.
the craze of entering into the foreign country is at high level. I just want to be in United States of America no matter what, and then you are ready to pay thousands and lakhs of rupees to the consultancies. I understood this business game while I was researching the labs.
All
And
right.
yeah, uh, there was a time when I thought, should I also seek consultancy services?
Mm,
But then I realized that if I can work hard enough, by myself, so I gave a time to myself that I will keep trying. And you will not believe, I wrote 250 emails all around, in all my, I guess, in my entire,
2 years.
in 1 year or 1.5 year. Every single night I used to sit and I used to do 50 or hundreds of email. I think it is more than 250 emails. So you have to maintain that hunt. And while any student is doing that, you reach a point where your motivation drops.
Yeah.
It has been 1 year, it has been 1.5 year, I'm not getting accepted by any foreign university. Why I should waste my career? While I was filling out the application, yes, my parents used to tell me that, look at your friends, they have already enrolled in the PhD
PhD.
universities.
Yeah.
They are already in their second year of
Second
PhD.
year.
You are still. But if you have a passion and a real enthusiasm, I would say keep your hunt on. Whenever you get rejections, yes, you get a lot of rejections when you apply. Take that rejection as a redirection. Take that rejection as a new opportunity.
Right.
Don't get demotivated thinking that I'm done now, because this is the human tendency. We become hopeless very soon. Also, the biggest mistake, one more, it's like, students target the high rank universities while they want to. So suppose if there is some student who wants to pursue their PhD from abroad, directly they will go to the Oxford, Harvard, all the Ivy League universities, the fancy universities. I'm not saying that you are not capable enough to take admission, but there is a certain way to enter into any foreign country. If you will target such a high profile university, such a high ranking university, you will end up in rejection, because understand the competitiveness.
Yes.
There is a lot of competition, and there are students from all around the world
World.
competing with you, all students from all around the world, and you are just running in that race with everybody. So maybe you have 5 publication, and maybe there is another student who has 20 publications in that MBSc, in that
Yeah.
masters. So that makes your profile a little bit, it can be seen as
Less.
less.
Yeah.
um, and So I always suggest the students apply for public universities, like I did. Oklahoma State University, Ohio State University, Colorado State University, any state universities which are public, which are not private.
Yes, Ivy League
And
universities are private universities. Stanford, Harvard, Penn U.
yes, if you'll go for the hi-fi university, you will end up in rejection, because there was a time I applied to it and I got rejected. But then, if you apply to the public universities, see, you can always make your transitions smoothly. The very first thought, if you want to go for further higher education in abroad countries, is how to make a first step into that country. Your first target should be, how should I enter into this country?
Right.
So target public universities, you will get easily accepted there, because the competition is not much. And after 1 year, 2 years, if you think that you have learned enough of the skills and now you want to target the high fancy universities, you can always take a transfer to some high Ivy League universities. There are transfer applications. Yes, there are many students who take transfer from a public university to a high profile university. So you can always make your transition from there. But the first step is to enter into the country. The very first step, like, if you'll think that no, I need to enter into Oxford, I need to enter into the Penn U, that's tough.
Yeah, and also the acceptance rate is very less of these universities,
Exactly.
8%, 5%, 7%. And some university, I don't know, it is UPenn, it has 3% acceptance rate.
Yes, so you
I
have
was
to make the
shocked.
transitions mindfully while doing
Yes.
that.
And
And
it's a patience game.
yes, you have to be a lot more resilient mentally, emotionally and mentally. It takes a toll on you. It is not an easy path, I'm telling you. I did it for 2 years, and I suffered some level of toxicity in India, and that's how I guess I that built my resilience, that motivated me, that I want to prove myself now. I don't want to prove the world. So make sure that you are your biggest competition, not
Right.
anybody else. Students usually target that I want to achieve this so that I can show the society that how I'm successful. You know,
Mm,
you are your biggest competition. You
right.
have to be proud of yourself. And many students don't know this, that while I'm especially talking about USA. In US, either you enter into the PhD as GTA or GRA. GTA is Graduate Teacher
Graduate teaching
Associate.
associate.
GRA is Graduate Research Associate, right? So the benefit, the biggest advantage of entering into the public universities, either you enter as a GTA or GRA, that your PhD is entirely fully funded. You don't have to spend a single penny, a single
Penny.
dime on your education. In fact, you will get a scholarship which is called as assistantship. So, like, I was in Oklahoma State University, I was GTA, Graduate Teacher Associate. Now, what does GTA means? Apart from your research in labs, you will be a teacher, or you will be seen as a professor, where your job role will be to teach the DVM students who are in the process of becoming vet doctor. So, let's say I was working in my lab for 8 9 hours. Apart from that, every single day I was working as a teacher associate, where I was teaching the DVM students and I was performing bunch of dissections on dogs and cats. Sometimes it was even 100. So hundreds of dissection on dogs and cats, so that I can teach the vet students. Uh, I personally like the GTA part, because when you are a teacher plus a researcher, you know, apart from
Right.
the hard skills, you're also building the soft skills like the teamwork,
Yes.
analytical skills. Your thought process improves, your teaching process improves. You learn a lot about different stuff, and you are involved in a continuous learning process every day and night. So that is a good blend of research and the teacher part. The other is GRA, Graduate Research Associate, where what students do, they will be working in a lab on a certain project, but apart from working on their own project, they will also be doing research on some other projects. The advantage is, they can get their name
Or
um,
more publications.
on more publications, like their own project plus the other projects. Say it was a project of your advisor or it was a project of your colleague, so you're working on that and you can get publications, like two publications maybe. you know it's not always the case. The disadvantage, you get oversaturated, because your
Mm,
life becomes monotonous. Working in the same routine, there is so much academic pressure. Like imagine working 19 or 18 hours on the same equipment doing the DNA extraction all day long. You will get
yeah.
saturated. And many students don't realize the first year of PhD in abroad countries, everything seems going downhill.
Mm,
And then from the second year of PhD, everything goes up on the
okay.
mountain. So that's when PhD students or international students realize whether I made a right decision to be in this country or not. So you have to be mentally resilient nowadays. Not nowadays especially, I believe, like there is pursuing education in a foreign country, it's more like a trend, it's more like a fashion. I see some students who doesn't have specific passion, but still like they see other people working in foreign
Yeah.
countries and they want to be there because they believe my life will be set in a foreign country. I will live a beautiful life, I will upload beautiful pictures on social media. It's not a fairy tale story. In fact, I'm telling you, you are living a much beautiful life in India. You will become a robot. If you are ready to become a robot, welcome to abroad. If you are ready to live a robotic culture, welcome to US. I'm not saying it's bad. You have a choice. You choose for it.
Yeah, there is
Like,
a hustle culture in US
yeah,
as
I
compared
decided
to
for it.
other.
Like,
Yeah.
I was ready to become a robot. I decided for it that I want to be a scientist. I want to work because in India, your lab timing starts from say 9 a.m., 10 a.m. Here in
Mm,
US, the lab timing is there is no specific lab
it's
timings.
24-hour.
At 24 hours, yes. Sometimes you go to the lab at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. You have to go. There is no choice. You also work on weekends, Saturdays and Sundays. You cannot keep a clear demarcation between your personal life and professional life. It will be messed up. And nobody realizes this. They realize very late in their life that what I did to my career. If you are a
Mm,
person who likes enjoying life and you also like enjoying your profession, be in India. And if you're a person who wants to accept the robotic culture, if you believe that I don't have a personal life or I don't want to enjoy my personal life, I just want to be a leading scientist and I want to be a Nobel laureate one day, welcome to US.
theme. Heavy, heavy stuff. Okay. Now we skipped a few part. I want to go a little back
Mhm.
towards the pre-PhD thing. What about the, because
Oh, letter of recommendation.
yes, letter of recommendation we did discuss,
Oh yes,
and
I'm sorry.
visa process is also there. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I want to uh, talk more on how to search for the labs, right? How to build, how you can tailor your research profile. Like someone you are approaching a professor, right? Because it's not like the that you want to, I want to do research on tuberculosis, right?
Mm-hmm.
There must be something why that. So what are those skills on your personal level that you need to build, and how to find that research topic you want to work
Okay.
on, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll be precise with that. So first, sorry, what was your question? A letter of recommendations,
Yes.
a very important step in deciding your application. Always go to the professors whom you trust and you are very sure that this person will write positively about you. And
Okay.
In India, what is the culture? I'm telling you. Students write their letter of recommendation and then they take to the professor that, sir, I have written this, please read it, and if you feel it is right, you can sign it so that I can submit it for my application. Nowadays everything is through emails, like you write
Yes.
the entire draft on a doc file and you ask your professor to read it. This is the way how, like, none of the professor is free completely 24/7 so that they will write 3 4 paragraphs on you.
Yeah.
And you have to write it very positively. The biggest thing is students go to random professors. Like suppose there is a professor in a medicine department, and you think that that professor talks to me, so he's nice to me and he will write positive about you. You cannot be sure if anybody is writing positive about you. um, it took me 2 years to reach US. You know why? Because
Of
I didn't
LORs.
realize for 1 year there was one professor. I would not like to take the name, but there was one professor in India. I had very good reputation and image with him, and I asked him that if you can please write a letter of recommendation. He said yes. You will not believe, for entire 1 year he kept writing so negative about me, so demeaning and disrespectful sentences for me. Um, and one day I got a call, or you would say a screenshot from the admission committee saying that who is this person writing such stuff. Now, not every university will tell you what the other person is writing because that
Yes,
information is
yes,
confidential.
yes, yes. It is a confidential
Yeah.
document that is
But a
submitted
person,
to
if
the
a person
university.
or if a professor wants to ruin your career, there
They
are
can
various
do it.
reasons. Yes, professors want, they don't want you to succeed academically.
Yeah.
They will write bad about you, they will write very negative, they will write filthy about you,
Mm.
and you will never know. And they will be like, हाँ बेटा मैंने कर दिया submit. So I got to know through the admission committee because they sent me the screenshot. I feel blessed and thankful in that way. If they wouldn't have sent me, I didn't know.
Yeah,
Maybe I
you
was.
might have gone
Yeah.
again to that professor. Please
Yes,
upload
and
this.
after
Yeah.
1 year, I realized I have to change my recommender. I have to change the professor I'm reaching out to. So always reach out to professors who you think that they are positive. And uh, there are some wonderful professors in my life who have helped me dearly, like who have helped me in all the phases of my life and whatever university I was applying to. And
You can
how
take names. You can mention their names. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So there is a Dr. Jaira from Mahu Veterinary College. He is the head of the department in parasitology department. Every time I ask him that I need a recommendation, he is ever ready that okay, write a rough draft and send it to me. And what he does before submitting the application, he sends me the screenshot, or after submitting the application, he sends me the screenshot of that entire text. He
Uploaded.
has written, or he has copy pasted my own words. That is the proof that yes, they have not changed any word. That is the proof that even the professor wants to build that trust and positive relationship with the students.
Right.
And as soon as I changed my recommender, you will not believe, I started getting acceptance from all the universities.
Mm.
Now, one thing here, again, before I forget,
Please.
whenever
Yeah.
you are choosing any lab, right? First of all, so what a student does, they get so happy with that acceptance that you don't want to foresee the other factors.
Okay.
Always reach out to the former PhD students through LinkedIn and ask about the PI, that how is the nature of the principal investigator, how is the advisor, is he demeaning or is she demeaning. We never do that. We never take the reviews and the feedbacks from the former students, and that leads us to the major fall, like a drop dead fall into the PhD career.
Okay.
I would take upon this when we will talk about the toxicity in labs.
Yes. Yes.
Remind me to take this topic
Sure. Sure.
further.
You can.
Like,
You can. You can discuss. We can discuss this then and there only. No issues.
okay, so uh, yeah, the second thing is how to decide a research lab. So suppose, first of all, go enlist any five universities, any five public universities you want to target. Let's say Florida State University. Okay, go on the website, look out for the departments. Now,
Mm.
here in foreign country, the veterinary science is not an entirely separate branch as it is in India. Like in India,
Yes.
we have a separate veterinary schools or veterinary universities, and
Yeah.
the MBBS
Is
colleges are
different.
separate.
Yes. Yes.
But here in foreign countries, the human medical science and the animal medical science, they go hand in hand.
And
You can find a veterinary school, and you may also not find a veterinary school. because here the veterinary officials or the veterinary science people and the human side, they all work together in the same labs.
Mm,
They work on the same pathogens.
right.
Because if you see the apex of the research pyramid, it leads to the one main goal. What is the end target? Everybody's working. They are targeting the chromosomes, they are targeting the genetic material, they are
Yes.
doing modification in the DNA, RNA. So if you see the apex of the research pyramid, everything is linked to the genetic system, right? That is the greatest possibility of your research
That's the
experiments that,
end goal.
yeah, that is the end goal. So if whenever you are surfing any website of any universities, there are various departments. Suppose department of health and paramedical sciences, department, there can be department of animal science, there can be department of biomedical sciences, there can be department of interdisciplinary research. So see now, when I talk about public health, I always say public health is, it is a interdisciplinary and it is a multidisciplinary field,
Multidisciplinary.
right?
Yes.
Everything is linked. Like, you can work in any lab and still you can be a public health expert.
Expert. Right.
So similarly, the departments, they work in US. So suppose if you targeted Department of Biomedical Sciences, now inside the Department of Biomedical Sciences, there will be different labs. Like you can see on the web page, some labs are working on pathogens, some labs are working on parasites, some lab are working especially in bacteria. So that is a bacteriology lab. Some labs are specifically working in viruses. Some
Some are
labs,
working on inflammation,
yeah,
or some are
some
working
are
on
working in,
immunity.
yeah, and some are working on, like, say, cancer nanotherapy,
Yes.
or there are labs just for drug discovery. So then you align your interests. So this is a way to find a lab. First of all, go to the university website, look out for all the departments, and click onto every department and see the details what they are doing. If you're not interested in parasitology, it's fine. If you're not interested in building or making some viruses, bacteria, it's fine. If your interests align more with the drug discoveries, that yes, maybe you want to work into in pharmaceutical companies, in future, maybe you want to discover more drugs. So you can target the labs that are specifically working and making drugs and studying the drug discovery and all the therapies. So this is a way to find a lab, but it takes a lot of research.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of research. Every university has biomedical science department, and under the biomedical sciences there are various branches. But if you
Right.
specifically want to work in an animal lab where you do not want to leave your expertise of veterinary, yes, there are labs they are working on animals. Yes, there are labs where study is basically they are just targeted towards the veterinary science profession. So you can choose your labs, but you can be anywhere. It is like in my masters, in my MBSc, I worked on Listeria monocytosis, right?
Yeah. Yes.
It was a bacteria.
Yes.
But in Oklahoma State University, I was working in a virology lab.
Hmm.
And while you go to any university, do not decide immediately that yes, I want to work in this lab. Because what happens, the professors ask you, did you like my lab? Do you want to stay here? And the students, out of enthusiasm,
Yes.
they
Yes.
say yes. There is always a provision of going through lab rotations. Always choose the option of lab rotation. So when you get the admission into foreign country, always go and talk to your professor or go to the um, admission coordinator
Admin. Yeah. Yes.
and tell
Administrators.
them
Yes.
that I am interested in exploring the labs. I am interested in lab rotations. I'm telling you, even if you have a dream to become a virologist, I would suggest go for lab rotations. Because what happens, maybe you dreamt of becoming a virologist, but when you go through lab rotations, what is lab rotations? You will be given 1 month training in every lab in that university. So suppose there is a lab working on cancer immunotherapy, there is a lab working on virology, there is a lab working on pneumonia bacteria,
Genetics.
yes, there is a lab working in genetics, in immunology. You will be provided training, 1 month training in each lab. Suppose there are 8 labs, you will be provided training like for 8 months in each of the lab. And then after 8 months of period, you decide that, oh, maybe I like the lab which was working on development of vaccines more. Maybe I don't want to work on
Hmm.
viruses, you know because every lab is different, the procedures are different. Sometimes the students out of like blindfoldedly they jump into any lab and then they don't see a way to get out of that. They don't know
Yes.
now how to make a career because uh, it keeps on changing. Your
Yes.
dreams, your patterns will keep making the shift, and it's very important to explore. Foreign countries, developed countries give you this platform. They give you wide range of opportunity. I don't know if in India in veterinary universities we have this option of lab rotations. I
I
don't know
don't think
because
so. No.
yeah, because when I was studying there was not an option of getting trained in different labs. But foreign countries, yes, they give you this opportunity, you know. And while you are making a transition to a foreign country, i I would say, or I would advise, it's more about a personal growth and personal development rather than a professional development, you know.
Okay. What do you mean by that? Can you please elaborate a little bit?
Yes. So your transition in a foreign country, it's more about personal growth, about your personal development. Your overall personality, it gets rounded up. Like
Okay.
you become a better human being, you become a better personal, and it will it will contribute to your entire personal growth. Don't just stick to professional growth that I am here just to complete my PhD. I am here
Okay.
just for my masters. Students, international students, students from India, they come and what they do, they will not mingle up, they will not mix up with other
Other
culture,
people.
other people,
Yeah.
right? And you will see a lot of discrimination here by your own nationality people. How? In the form of classism, in the form of regional biasness,
Yes.
in the form of hierarchical attitudes, right? So these are the things like students come from India, they talk only to Indian students. They will not go and mingle with other students. They will be reluctant if they are sitting in a group and having a group discussions. They will not do that. You are in a foreign country. Doesn't matter how many challenges you see. Doesn't matter how many negative or traumatic personal experiences you see. See it as an opportunity for growth,
Right.
because that will decide your overall personal growth. That will decide your overall personality.
It will groom your personality.
Yes, so it's about more evolving personally rather than just seeing it as a journey from a professional point of view.
Right.
And many students don't realize this. In fact, you will not believe that uh, international students, their biggest strength is having that international experience.
Right.
That is their biggest weapon in hand, or that is their biggest strength. When you are sitting in a group discussions, always take part in discussions, talk to people. If nobody's talking to you, go
Go
and
and
start talking
start
to
the
people.
conversation.
You will not believe that uh, when you will share your cultural experiences, there can be abundant opportunities for growth, there can be abundant opportunities for collaboration. People like it
Right.
more. Everybody wants to hear your personal journey while you were in India, you know so if you are in a different country, explore that culture, go and talk to people. And while you are in a PhD program, if you feel certain amount of negativity, if you feel certain amount of toxicity, if you feel that there is an emotional and mental toll, there are various resources available in all the universities which are in abroad. There are counseling services available. You can go and talk to a therapist, and they are the experts in suggesting what can be the better way. Apart from the counseling services, there are career guidance services. You can go and talk to them. There are various organizations. What student do is they will only join one organization when they come here, and that is Indian Student Organization. Now you tell
Okay.
me how you will grow your personality, how you will develop your personality, and what benefit it is giving you. You already know a lot about Indian culture. You have
Yeah.
lived your
Or
25
20
years or 30
years.
years of life there,
Yeah.
right?
More than 2 decades.
Yes, join other cultural organizations. There are various organizations. There are a bunch of organizations. If you
Right.
join them, you will learn about different culture. That will develop your public speaking skills. That will develop your convincing skills. And the most two important things it will give you is it will help you build your leadership skills and your competency skills, your
Right.
managerial skills, which are very important when you go out in the job market. And if you want to make um, make a good name for yourself, I would say, if you want to do something extraordinary, if you want to be a step ahead in your field, it's very important to develop leadership skills, competency skills, and managerial skills, to have that analytical thinking.
Right.
And that is possible when you try mix up with people, talk to people, because that builds your communication skills. So this is very important. Make use of all the resources while you are in developed countries. There are
Right.
student centers. If you are fond of poetry, there are
Poetry
organizations,
clubs, dance
poetry
clubs,
clubs. If you are interested in
photography
acting, drama,
club.
theater, yeah, just go and explore everything. See it as a platform, and see it as an opportunity which you never received in
God.
your life while you were in
Yes.
India.
Right.
So it so that's why I say that life in a foreign country, it's all about personal growth and personality development rather than just sticking on the professional development.
Right. And also it gives you a very different perspective of the world. Like
It
if
adds
you meet a
diversity.
if you are in a PhD lab, I mean, if you meet a guy or a girl from Nigeria, and you'll get to know what's there. Like whatever we are reading, right? We know social media and everything is majority rate. That person from he will tell you a different perspective of
Exactly.
Nigeria or any country. Right. So it also gives you a very geopolitical importance and knowledge also, if you are
Yes,
mingling with other kind of people. Right.
definitely, because we are living in a politically challenged and economically driven uh,
Right.
world. Today's time
Yes.
is politically challenged and economically driven. You have
Exactly.
to be updated with all the fields. And I especially, if you are a vet, it doesn't mean that you will only study and have knowledge about the veterinary science. you know you should know information on various things going around the world, like what is happening in the politics,
Right.
uh, how the economic situations are working. And if I talk more about, like, if somebody is interested, keep reading a little about sociological stuff, life philosophy. I'm
Yes.
telling you, because that adds a bunch of diversity, to your overall personality. And when in a foreign country you meet people, when you talk to them, they really like your perceptions. And you never know how an opportunity will come at your door because of the entire vast knowledge you have accumulated in all the years. So don't just be stick to your own field, that I'm a vet student, I will just read about the vet science and nothing else. Build your overall personality. Your
Right.
rounded up personality is very important for the job market, for especially if you aim high, like if you want to be a CEO.
Exactly. Yes. I'm absorbing all the thing. I'm just taking everything. I'm taking a note in my head. Yeah. Now I want to move towards what a first year PhD student do.
First year PhD student, either you choose lab rotations, so you just get the basic trainings in all the lab, you get to know all the labs, you get to know all the methodologies, the techniques they are using. This is
Okay.
you doing first year of PhD. First year of PhD is more about exploring that lab, exploring that particular subject you are diving into, reading articles, reading different review articles, reading different case studies, and just developing and preparing your own grounds, preparing your own mindset for further research. So there
Okay.
is not a burden in first year PhD. That's why you will see everything going downhill and you will enjoy the process. The actual burden starts from the second year of PhD. And also, apart from that, either you will be a GRA, as
Or
I
a
said, or
GTA. Yeah.
GTA. So you will enjoy that process. You will enjoy teaching students. You will enjoy doing research in labs. So it's same like MVSC. The first year you will just read about the basic subjects, you will read about the basic courses, you will give certain exams, like you will read about immunology, you will read about pathology, and you will learn the basic techniques. So first year is chill and relax.
Okay. So PhD is 100x of MBSC.
It is a mentally very exhaustive journey, you know And if you see, there is a huge shift in this perception of PhD nowadays. There is so much of oversaturation of PhD
PhDs,
holders
yes.
because of the limited academic job opportunities. Like, because in foreign country, it's like the PhD program is of 5 years. You involve yourself mentally, physically, emotionally into this 5 year long journey, and then you have to be a postdoc. Like, you have to join in some
Yes.
university as a postdoctorate for few years. You have to make a certain number of publications, certain number of citations, and that's how you will reach to a level of assistant professor, and that too non tenure track, and that's how you
Yeah.
become a tenure. So there are very limited academic job opportunities nowadays. That's why companies or industries are targeting more on the skill centric employment rather than whether
The
you are a
degree.
yeah.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter you have uh, done your PhD research, let's say on coronavirus, like in virology. You can be working in a company that is making bioengineering tools. So like, most of the students don't know this, that they think that if I have done my PhD research in some bacteria,
I
I
need
can
to
only
be.
work with labs, or I can only work with the companies performing their job experiments on that particular bacteria. No, it's not like that. phd
Right.
phd is just, I would say, it's a proof that you are now
A
prepared.
researcher.
Yeah, you are effectively prepared for targeting the bigger projects of your life.
Hmm. Okay. It's just like you can label it as a trial run of your research experience.
Yeah. And like, you have to be very mindful, because in India PhD is for 3 years, here it is 5 years. Are you ready to take this long race? So this is
Hmm.
very important, to choose mindfully rather than just in that moment, like heat of the moment, you just decide that I want to be in a foreign country. No, the journey
Yes.
here is not easy. I'm telling you, the journey in the foreign country is not easy. And there are very few people who will give you the honest feedback, who will give you the honest narrative of what is life in a foreign country. I'm not trying to demotivate people here. I'm not trying to talk all the negative stuff here. But I believe people should know the reality check. People should know what is the honest, honest and the true life is there. It's not fairy tale. It's not all a princess living in an island and uploading pictures on beautiful pictures on social media. You will hardly get any time to sit and have a glass of water. It's that tough here. And if you are ready to take it, go for it, I always say. But there is a mentality, I would say, especially I think in all the students, doesn't matter of any field. If you try to give them the honest feedback, if you try to tell all the true things, they will take it negatively.
Hmm.
They will seek it in such a way as if you are trying to pull their leg, as if you don't want them to
Come
see them
abroad.
successful.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like, come here, explore yourself, experience yourself, and get the taste of a foreign country. That's a better one.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Now I want to go to your PhD journey. Like PhD is a 4 or 5 year program, and you only did for 2 years, and you left PhD. It must be a very tough decision. I have two questions. Why you wanted to walk away from your PhD? Like you worked for 2 years to get into PhD. And the second question is, what made sure that it is time to walk away from this? Right, because it's a tough decision, it's a big life, like you are on the a path of becoming a big researcher, right? You or will go for your postdoc and become a scientist,
Mhm.
right? A associate professor, and you have worked a lot, right? Beat anyone, like your
Yeah.
journey, right? So why you wanted to walk away from PhD, and what made sure that now I wanted to give away, like I'm done with this PhD?
So I was very enthusiastic. passionate, highly passionate, and I was so proud of myself. I am even now very proud of myself for making that decision. It took me 2 years to reach the goal of my life, to reach that ambition where I wanted to be.
Right.
Very happily, I started my journey in Oklahoma State University. I learned a lot. I grabbed a lot of knowledge. I contributed in that lab or in that university so beautifully. So I was all happy. And then while I was in the second year of PhD program, everything was going superb, and there was a family medical emergency where I got to know that my mom, she was on last stage of cancer. And I don't know about foreign countries, like things work in a very practical way, but we Indians, we do have a strong ties and bonds with our
With our
families,
family,
our
yes.
culture. How can you let your parents die when you are alive, right? In that emergency situation, I had to rush to India to see my mom and to be there with her. She was on her deathbed, and she was in a coma. And now again, we students do not see it at a broader level, at a broader angle, while we were applying for while we are applying for PhD, right? And we do not acknowledge this fact that how toxicities prevail in labs. We never talk
Mm,
about this topic to anybody. We never reach out to the former PhD students.
right.
We never try to know more about that professor, that how he is as a person. Will he be supportive? Will he be supportive morally? Will he be supportive emotionally? And when I discussed with my advisor, so in some labs you have very strict policies, like you cannot leave lab. Doesn't matter, your dad dies, your mom dies, your family member dies, you cannot leave that lab. You are not allowed to travel to your country. And that's what happened. I was not allowed to leave the lab. And in that moment, like, I struggled a lot. I even tried to convert it into a short term study rather than because I thought that, okay, I'm here, I've almost completed 2 years, and you will
I'll
not
get a
believe,
master's degree.
I did a lot of work. I made so many, I don't know how many coronaviruses, like how strong coronaviruses, because I was creating mutations in them. I did such strong mutations. My virus samples were exact on the point. I had such a beautiful data and huge data. Like, I could have published my papers. I worked so hard, and I was immensely proud of myself for doing that work. Because somehow in my life there were professors in India who had let me down, who disrespected me, or um, kind of, like, I would say, they broke my confidence. And I was very proud that I am in a foreign country, I'm doing all this work. But due to in that family medical emergency, I had to quit and I had to move back to India so that I can be on the side of my dying
Mom.
mother. My mother is still on chemotherapy, she is still struggling a lot. And so I went to India. I was there for at least, I would say, a year, or, like, I was there initially for a few months. And I came back because when you get a study visa, it is for 5 years.
Yes.
So, you're right. So you can quit the program, you can go back, but you can still enter the country because you have your visa
Visa
is
for five
still
years.
not expired. So when my mom was a little better, I moved back to US and I moved to Texas. So from Oklahoma, I moved to Texas. And here I started again my journey from scratch. I started targeting the labs, I started writing emails, I started working on my SOP. But then I realized that, do I still need to suffer that toxicity which I suffered, while I was in OSU? There is like there are lab toxicities in the academia. We don't realize this, nobody talks about it, nobody warns you, nobody prepares you. You
Right.
have to suffer by your own, and then you realize. So yes, I have suffered a significant amount of challenge there, because when you are Indian and you have such a strong bond, such a strong connection to your own roots, to your own family, nobody will understand you. So
Right.
either you have just two options: either become mentally resilient, and move on. And if you will cry, they will hear you for the first time. If you will cry for the second time, they will see you as a very emotionally driven person, emotionally weak person. Sometimes they even title you as mentally abnormal. So you will be made fun of, and it's difficult. So when I came back to Texas, and I decided I will not suffer the toxicity anymore. And I already had the public health background, and I thought if I can make use of this public health background, and if I can, you know, uh, relate it to the health policy, because public health and health
Hmm.
policy, as I
They go
said,
hand in hand. Yeah.
they go hand in hand and they are very important. So I decided to rather uptake my career in health policy. And like, as I say that life has beautiful plans for me, universe has very different plans for me. I never realized, like, or I never thought that I will be enrolled in Rice University, because it is a private university. It is at much better ranking than where I was. And
Right.
I'm very happy in learning about all the health policy areas, that how the effective policies are made, how to implement them. And you implement them at the local level, national level, and then at the global level.
Great.
So yes, the transition was not smooth, um, but I made it.
Must it's a very long and tough journey, right? And then you were in your PhD, and then you had to take back. And it's
Yes,
a
and there are
uh,
mental health challenges. Like
yeah,
now, I
yeah, yes, there are. So I want to address on the mental health issues, because it's a big challenge. Even if you are continuing with your PhD and you are in the lab, you are facing toxicity or racism on some level. And if you are quitting out of PhD, there is also some sense of mental health issues, right? There is a lot of stress. You have worked your ass off to get into that PhD, and then you quit, or you don't feel like you want to pursue, right? You are in that very dark space because of any so reason. Now, how or what things can be developed, or what things on a personal level, also on a disciplinary level? Like, we all are veterinarians, right? We go through this even if you are a clinician or a researcher. How we can develop this mental resilience? What are all those things that you feel like that on an individual level that you need to have it? How you can address those issues, and how as a group of veterinary professionals we can support each other?
the very first thing is acknowledge the fact about the discrimination. If you are, if you are feeling that you are being targeted, if you feel that it's driving you down emotionally, mentally, the very first is get out of the denial phase and accept and acknowledge that yes, this is wrong. Most of us, we live in a denial phase. We do not accept, we do not just acknowledge, we keep going.
Mm,
Why? Because the lab is good, it's a world recognized lab, it's a world recognized PI, and I want to take this journey. Why? Because it can give me better opportunities to grow in future. It will give me good publications. Are you sure you will be able to make it to that level? Are you sure you
right.
will be able to complete your 5 years of program? Nobody thinks about that. And so there are, yes, there is a lot of anxiety, there is a lot of depression, there is you have to see if it is a lab working with a positive environment, or it is a pressure cooker. How he is as a person, is he demeaning, or is he appreciative of you? Sometimes you do all the work and your
Yeah.
PI or your advisor goes in a conference and they take all the credit of your data.
Right.
They say that I am doing this amazing amount of work, but here it's not seen like that. I don't know about India, because in India, it's, I think we are still going on the same concepts. But here in foreign countries, if a student is doing any specific amount of work, and if it is producing, if he's or she is producing great data, yes, the professor has to acknowledge and appreciate and give all the credit to the student for the hard work. So if you see such patterns, that he's not appreciative, he's not giving you enough credit, and while having meetings and discussions, is he sounding very demeaning? Is he trying to not include you in the conversations? Is he not very inclusive of you? These are the red flags.
Racial
you know.
remarks as well.
Yes. Also, before applying, go on that particular PI website and check that how many citations or how many publications this person has made in the last 5 years. You know, again,
Okay.
if he has not made uh, like any publications, say in the last 5 or 10 years, he just made one publication. Maybe
Okay.
that lab is not as ambitious as you are. Maybe you want to
Okay.
work on a 2x speed and they are working on a zero point 0.5 speed. So
Right.
again, that will not match or that will not align your research interest. On the flip side, if that PI lab has 15 or 20 citations or publication in that 5 years, it is not a lab. It is a pressure cooker. It is a it is an environment where there is a lot of, like, understand the amount of pressure students have to make this publication. Do you want to drag yourself down into such a rabbit hole? No. Connect people on LinkedIn who were there in that lab previously, who have worked their life. Reach out to people now who are working in industry and maybe at one point they were working in that lab. Ask them about the PI, ask them about the work culture, ask them about the environment going on around, the toxicity in the labs, you know,
Yes.
in the academic area. And this toxicity is not just here in US, it's also in India. It's just like we do not acknowledge it, we don't see it,
Hmm.
and we don't talk to our colleagues. Choose people who are supportive of you. Don't share your experiences with the people who look down upon you, who do not support you when you are trying to address the mental health challenges you are facing, the mental health issues.
Right.
Most of the people will say, this is the way it happens, you have to learn how to deal with it. Now there are two categories of people. Either a person become mentally resilient, it's just like your immune system, like your adaptive immune system. If constantly it will recognize and sense a pathogen, it will become resilient, it will develop memory cells, right? So similarly, we human beings work like, either you become resilient out of all the emotional mental abuse happening to you,
Right.
or it will just bring you down in a very negative manner. Well, it will break your self esteem, where it will make you feel hopeless. And that's why you see that the suicide rates in veterinarians is twice that of other medical fields,
Right.
right?
Yes.
Because we don't address the mental health issues, and we are seen as unprofessional. You're not seen as a vet doctor. So it's very important to address the mental health challenges you are going through.
But
And
yeah, so sorry to
uh,
interrupt, but
yeah,
in the US there are a lot of, like you mentioned, there is counseling services in the university, right? The career guidance is there. But in India or in any Indian subcontinent, we don't have such things, right? You
exactly.
and
This is
we
the first.
don't we don't have these things to transfer our lab, take transfer from one university. So it's a big challenge for Indian veterinarians to address
Yes,
these issues. So it goes with you in your entire personality and in your profession. So
exactly. Right.
how
And
we can
yeah,
address
the very
this?
first thing, the tone of a professor defines everything in your life. The tone of a
Right,
professor defines that how you gonna take your future ahead. Either a professor can make you or break you,
right.
you know.
Yes,
And uh, when I came here in US, I observed that every institution, every organization has their own therapist. They have the person who are experts in psychology, and they hire them especially for the vet students, so that the vet students, they can go and talk to them, right? We don't have such facility in India. I think it's very important.
it is.
Organizations or all the universities, they charge so much of fees to the students. They have institutional charges, they have fees. Can't you hire an expert on psychology? Can't you hire a person as a therapist so that student can reach out to them for their mental health benefits?
Right.
This is a big thing. And
Indeed.
in sociology, if you read sociology, um, there is a theory about suicide. And so there is a suicidal theory proposed by Emile Durkheim. if you
Okay.
can search about him.
Sure.
So what Emile Durkheim said, that there is a specific kind of suicide known as fatalistic suicide. And
Okay.
this fatalistic suicide happens when a person is seen with a lot of expectations, when he will feel that there is overly regulation on him or her, when there is a lot of academic pressure or expectations from the society, from the needs. Now, what happens in veterinary science? Students have high expectations from themselves. First of all, like you are a
Yeah.
vet doctor, you want to see yourself reaching here. You want to be a scientist. You want to be a vet doctor. You want to have your own clinic. So there is high expectation from ourselves. We have high expectations from colleagues. We have high expectations from parents. We have high expectations from professors. And when these expectations are not met, and you realize that the pressure to excel academically is so intense, it's so high, that everything takes a downward movement.
Yeah.
And there a person reaches a point where he or she will feel that now I am hopeless, because they will feel that I am not enough, I'm not capable enough to do this, I'm not a potential student, I have zero potential in me. And there happens the fatalistic suicides, because then the students take away their own life because they
Right.
see themselves as useless in this world. They, the power of autonomy,
It
it
is
keeps
gone.
failing, it
Yeah.
goes down. So you have to control that. And yes, in the veterinary profession we have high expectations from the students, rather supporting them mentally, rather supporting them morally. We just keep pushing them. We do not tell them how to celebrate failures. It is very important. And when I
Yes.
was in my BVSC, um, every student studying in my class, they were brilliant, they were very hardworking. Doesn't matter if they do not make to a certain level of GPA. Doesn't matter if a student is not getting that 8.2 GPA, or if he's getting 60 GPA. He will be brilliant, she will be brilliant, because
Oh,
when you
okay.
see such
This was
students,
not expected.
no, they are brilliant. I mean, I see all the veterinary students. Just don't concentrate on how many percentage or percentile they are receiving.
Yeah.
They are so hardworking, they are brilliant, they are knowledgeable. You see them working in the clinics, how expert they are with all the medicine, gynecology, surgery
Yes.
fields, and even in the paraclinical side, if you see, they have all the knowledge of all the methodologies going on. The only reason why students rush and run to the foreign countries, because the developed countries give them enough of the resources to carry that research forward.
Right.
The major problem is funding. If we have
Yes.
enough funding in our Indian institutions, if we have enough resources, if you want to work on some advanced techniques, and that machines that cost lakhs and crores, we don't have that enough funding, and that's why people run to the foreign countries, so that they can get good resources. That's
Right.
the only reason. And uh, toxicity in labs happens in India, it happens in
Yeah. Yeah.
US.
It does.
Yeah,
Yes.
but in India we become resilient. But I would say, you go and talk to your colleagues, you go and acknowledge that fact, and stand for yourself, speak for yourself, have voice for yourself. That is important. There have been professors in my life who said that you are a piece of shit. Now if a professor tell you that you are a piece of shit, how would you feel? Don't you think that it will affect you mentally? You
It
will keep
will.
thinking about these
Yes.
statements for like your entire life. So you have to decide. That's why I say the tone of a professor sets everything in your life. And I have seen some professors. I had some friends and colleagues. Um, they were not very, I would say, Einstein minded, you know, but they were hardworking. They were brilliant. So instead, the professors focused on their CGPA rather than their uh, abilities, their skills. And I have seen some professors disrespecting my colleagues and friends, saying that you are the biggest failure on earth. Now, what do you think? Can that student do anything in his life or in her life? You are just pulling them down.
Right.
So
You are breaking their morale.
yeah, we need to provide the mental health coaching, and I would say the professionalism, and how to inculcate this compassion and kindness in the professors also.
Right.
And when I talked to the top psychologist of India, she said that most of the toxicity you will see getting out from the female professors, they will,
Okay.
you believe that you are a girl, and if you have women professor as an advisor, she will be nice to you because women understands each other. No, that doesn't
No.
work that way. I got to know from a psychologist that women have the tendency of keeping this jealousy, because maybe in their life when they were in the academic area they were pulled down by people. They didn't get enough opportunities to excel academically, so they, in their subconscious mind, they have this jealousy factor. They will envy you. They will not be happy that their students are making progress.
Right.
They will be like, why this particular girl is making a lot of progress, and let me pull her down, let me
Right.
ruin her career, let me spread the negativity. And you will find such female professors.
Right. And not also in female, like also in male. I was also talking
Yes.
about. I also had a talk with a psychotherapist regarding mental health issue in veterinarians, and we also addressed this professional jealousy and all. What he told me, it is their what bad experiences they had, the frustration they are carrying it forward
The
to
males.
their students. I lost you
Yeah,
there. Hello.
yeah.
Yeah, so what he told me, those professors who have this jealousy towards their
Right.
student, they also face these issues, and now what
Yes.
they experience, like, and what they're carrying it forward towards their students. So it is their issues. Instead of stopping it here, what they felt like they should have, like, okay, my professors did this to me, I'll not do this thing to my students. But instead, what they are doing, they are repeating what their professors did. So this is
Exactly.
also, so that's a big issue on professors side.
And I think, see, it of such kind of toxicities and emotional mental abuse, it affects both the female students and the male students.
Yeah,
I would,
exactly.
yeah, I would say it is more heavy on male students because you don't find men showing their vulnerable sides easily. A man
Right.
cannot cry easily. A woman can cry easily. We are girls. We are very good with showing our emotions. I'm not saying that everyone.
Offended some very feminist.
I am a feminist. I'm a pro-feminist, but
So
you have to see.
I should use pseudo feminist. Then
Uh,
offended many pseudo feminist.
I'm talking about both sides of the coins. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
yeah,
but you talked about the vulnerability, so that's my comment. I'm not saying like
there is
it's
misconstruing of information. There is character
yes,
assassination of both female and male
male.
students.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
I think in vet profession it's very common. Let me give you an example here. A few months back, I saw a post of this Haryana Veterinary College, I guess,
Okay.
where, yes, where Mr. Bhushan, they were doing,
Yeah.
right?
IIVR Rohtak.
Yes,
Yes. There is a protest going on against all this
yes, there
fees
was a
and all.
protest
Yes.
going on. Now, what is that? It is the character assassination. You
Yes.
are defining the character of a woman, and this is a problem. This is a huge problem in veterinary profession. You know, if you want to bring a woman down, simple. It's very simple. Assassinate their
Assassinate their
character.
character.
You know,
Yeah.
title them as characterless, and the same happens for boys also. I'm not saying it just happens with girls. Like
But it's
I personally,
very much easier to target a woman with
yes,
character. Yeah.
I have faced personally. I faced a lot of significant challenges. Uh, I have faced immense amount of mental health challenges while I was in India, and it took me so many years to realize that you have to speak up for yourself. You have to be your own voice.
Right.
So when I saw this post of Haryana Veterinary College, students are going a lot of, they're going a lot of mental health challenges. Do you
They
think?
are. Yes.
Yeah, and while they are in those 5 years of BBSc program, that is the time and opportunity for them to grow. That is not time for them to waste in such matters.
Right.
I'm saying wasting because there is no action made on that thing. Like if they are protesting, there is not a particular, I would say, a particular solution you are giving to the students that it will not happen again.
Right.
There are certain professors, there are certain people who assert their power by belittling others,
Yes.
you know. And this is the common way, this is a very common way how you are giving great veterinarians to the world, where you are asking students to suppress their own voices, where people cannot have their own voices.
Right.
Women, I'm
Right.
saying that they are easily targeted because you uh, assassinate their characters. And most of the women, because they are emotional, they have that emotional soft side, they get affected by it, and that entirely kills their self-esteem. On the other hand, I have seen some males, like I had some um like male students in my class. I saw them, like it broke them completely. And it's not a fair treatment, it's not justice to them. There has to be there has to be some national plan, I would say, or national act regarding this. There has to be some mission, there has to be some solution where people, or
Right.
the especially vet students, can reach out. And both male and female students, they can put their voices in the forefront line, and they
Exactly.
can just, yeah, we can find a solution for this. Because
Indeed.
this thing has to stop. Otherwise, you are seeing that many veterinarians are committing suicide. It will go on, it will go on and on and on. Instead of providing great veterinarians, we are just putting this profession down. And that's why parents are reluctant, they don't want their children to become a vet doctor, because they know
Not
the reality going around.
not even the vet doctor, but also human physician. I'll also mention them because they are also facing challenges. They are being beaten badly, brutally by other patients, assistant, right? Even though it's not their fault, of
Yes.
the doctors, like they are not at fault. So they, even human doctors also, they don't, people don't want to send, right? Now I'll go back to the Haryana thing also. There are two faults that I see. One, that the decisions, they are not getting a proper decision. The second is within the community. Why the community veterinary professionals, or like from the students, they are not coming together to speak this, right? They are of the same fraternity.
Yes, they are. But you see, there is a lot of fear associated of the
Yeah.
professional repercussions. If a student cooperates with the other student who is protesting,
Mm.
they fear that someday I will have the professional repercussions. Maybe
Yes.
I will not be given job. Maybe I will not.
Be
I won't be
blacklisted.
respected. Yes, I will. I'll put down. I'll be putting. I'll be put down by other people, and they will not see me as a qualified veterinarian. So
Right.
students are scared. It's not their fault. It's a societal conditioning, I would say,
All
overall.
right.
Yeah,
Okay.
that builds up. So it's a conditioning that plays a major role. Who teaches in the veterinary profession to the students that doesn't matter what happened, irrespective of the repercussions you will face, you have to speak for yourself, you have to raise your voice if you
Right.
see anything
Injustice.
injustice.
Yes.
None of the professor comes and teaches. In fact, when such kind of things happen, professors come and they talk to the students, and what they will say, it is for your benefit, take this case away, put
Yeah.
this case down, it's doing no good to you, just focus on your career and move ahead.
Yes.
Even the professors, even the older people, like the elder people, they advise students to keep silent, to put a zip on and move on. And when that particular students later commits suicide, these are the
Mm.
professors, or these will be the bunch of people saying that he should have talked about this, we could
Yeah.
have
He should
helped,
have come to us. Yeah. Yeah.
he could
Yeah.
have come to us. And when the
Yeah.
students are coming to you, are you really helping? I'm not saying all the professors are like this. See,
Majority is the same.
there are some amazing, wonderful professors
Yes.
who are of great help to the students. But then, yes, on the flip side, there are professors who
Yes.
just make use of their power and authority. You know, they want to be at the topmost hierarchical level to maintain their all the hierarchy, and for that they are ready to take the students down, they are ready to kill their confidence, they are ready to just kill their soul completely, I would say. So that has to stop. And I think it can only stop when young people like you and me can work on it. We cannot expect the elder people. They have done
No,
their
yeah,
life, they've
yeah.
done their part here.
They have
Now they're
reached the
retired.
neuroplasticity. They
Yeah,
now you cannot alter their
yeah.
psychology. Yeah.
It is the young people who have to come out and they have to form some national mission on it, or I would say association, any association, you know.
Hopefully, we will do the geek
Yes.
veterinarian and beyond billions with the rich. We will do something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Looking forward to it. Now, I'll go a little bit like in India, we say there is a lot of women veterinarians, right? In terms of population, we say. But what I have observed, there are not a lot of women in the top position. I don't see. There
The
might
top veterinarians.
in the top position. Like there are a lot of women veterinarians enrolled, but I don't see them in top position in decision making positions, right?
Okay.
Why do you think so? We say we veterinary medicine is a woman dominated field, yet there are no or many women in the top decision making field. Like if we talk about the Veterinary Council of India, right, the president or any other organization, I don't see, or any other
See,
university VC is there, right? Vice principal, dean. There are
yes.
only one or two. Why do you think so? It is there.
The only fact I would stick to, if you see the history and evolution of veterinary medicine, it's a male dominated field. It has
Okay.
always been the male dominated field. Women are not given enough opportunities to be at that level, to be the vice chancellor, to be the dean. And this shift, there was a time when the shift has been created into the veterinary profession, where more females started taking admissions and they started enrolling into the veterinary medicine.
Yes.
Now, okay, we have a bunch of women in the veterinary science, but still somehow, I would say it is a male dominating, you know पुरुष प्रधान सेक्टर है, पुरुषों ने
Okay.
राज किया है, and it will keep going like this unless we bring that person, you know get down of the power. And this can be only done by giving opportunities to the women. There have been wonderful professors, female professors, who qualify for the post of dean, for the vice chancellor, you know for the top position. And I
Yes.
personally believe women can run the veterinary institution in a much better way than a male does.
Yeah, yeah, and women are very good at managerial jobs.
Yes, women are, because if you look back at the evolution, males are very good in decision making, or I would say like anything which is like, which needs a
Go get
solution.
it. Go get her.
Yeah,
Go get this done.
yeah,
Women are more in a organized,
yeah.
analytical, and
If
they're
you
like,
read
okay,
the
this needs to be done.
Yes, if you read the women and the male psychology, a male psychology works like, if you narrate him the problem, he will immediately look for the solution,
Solution.
not looking at the background of the problem, how it
Yeah.
arises, what are your thoughts going on in your subconscious mind, what were the
Right.
conditions that gave birth to nothing, directly jumping on the solution part. That is a male psychology. That's how a male psychology works. If you look at the female psychology, the female psychology works a lot more on the emotional and mental conditioning. They will dig deep into what were the factors driving to that problem. you know
Mm,
if I will make this solution, will this be better for the community, or will this be better just for one person?
right.
How can I involve a huge community so that they can get the upliftment, they can get the all the advantages out of that? So women think at the broader level, because that's how we have evolved as a human beings. So I personally believe that if women are given the role of dean or vice chancellor, they will run the veterinary universities in a much better way, and they will do wonderful jobs. And you will not like, you don't know, maybe um, it will be like a revolution. Maybe we will see
Amen. Looking
um,
forward to it.
yeah, mental health experts working along with the veterinarians. uh, but the only thing is women has to be given that opportunity. Even now, in India, I've seen that there are professors who try to drag women down, who try to pull them.
Yeah.
And the second is the toxicity. It's very easy to bring a woman down, and you know if you want to remove any woman out of power, if you want to pull her down, it's very easy. As I said, you assassinate their character, go for the filthiest language, you can bring her down.
Hmm.
Because we cannot there, yes, there are women who are very resilient,
Yes.
they are very mentally strong, they deal with it. On the other hand, there are women because uh, mostly you might have seen that when the students come out of BBSC, while reaching to their MBSC, females get married. You
Yeah.
know, now they
Yeah.
have a family, they have a responsibility
Yes.
towards their family and towards their professions, and many females give up because they don't want to suffer the toxicity. They don't
Right.
want to talk about the toxicity. They just want to give up and they
Give
want
up.
to be at home. So we see many women as a vet doctor who have who have made to the entire BBSC program, who have masters, who have specializations, and then they decide to be a housewife, you know, and they just give up on the profession. They don't want to be there. And if a female wants to be there, either she will open a clinic, or she will try to be
Do
financially
something.
independent by other means where negativity is not there, where toxicity is not there. Because eventually, any woman doesn't want to pass that negativity on to the family, to the children, to the husband.
Yes.
So we women have a very particular way where we isolate ourselves from the toxicity. We build our own little world and we try to work with that. And that's why you don't see many women coming out. You don't see many women on the topmost position. Even if
Yes.
there is, people will drag her down.
But you talked about giving them an opportunity,
Yes.
but no one is willing to give opportunity to another man as well. It is all like get into the wrestling, get that job.
It's all
And
politically charged.
yeah, it
Everything,
is.
everything,
Yeah,
every position you
there is
acquire.
there is no denial in this that it is not politically charged, but giving an opportunity, I feel like you'll need to get into that arena and you'll need to get
Yeah,
that title.
yeah, giving the opportunity means like when there is a committee who decides,
Yeah, yeah. In that
when,
sense, it can be
yeah,
given. Yes,
when
yes.
there is a committee that decides for the candidates who approve for this particular position, that committee needs to make a fair judgment. And that is not there because we are politically driven, we are economically driven.
Right.
you
Yeah.
know I'm not saying that corruption is everywhere. I'm not saying that all people are corrupted, but
It is
at least,
there.
but everybody knows the power of money.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You throw a pile of notes and you can easily get the position.
Yes,
So you
exactly.
can, in today's time, you can buy everything. You
Yeah,
can
yeah,
buy
yeah.
the title, you can buy the position, you can buy the citations, you can buy the publications.
Yes.
But it's you who decide whether you want to be honest to your profession, whether you want to indulge and inculcate all the positivity and honesty into your profession, or whether you just want to be a fake veterinarian or a fake scientist, and have that position. Many people buy positions, many
Right.
people buy citations. And you
Yes.
and then you will feel that I have never seen this person working in the lab and he has 100 and 200 citations. How is that possible? So you
Right.
can buy
Exactly.
everything in today's time.
Right. Right. Now let's move towards audience questions. We have questions
Yes.
from our audience. As someone with an extensive experience in education, what advice would you give to a young veterinarian about staying updated with emerging public health issues?
Okay. So my advice would be, I would say threefold or fourfold.
Okay.
Very first step, continuous learning process. Involve yourself in continuous learning process. And how's that? There are various organizations that holds webinars, conferences, workshops, hands-on training, internships. Get involved with anything that aligns your interest. There are
Right.
short-term internships, there are fellowship programs, there are short-term study plans, and there are specialized courses. in veterinary profession, which various organization gives. So you can involve in that. So continuous learning is the first thing, right? Secondly, yes, you have to be updated with the current emerging issues going on, and for that it's very necessary that you dedicate a specific amount of time. If you cannot read a lot about it, like, just dedicate half an hour, I would say, or 20 minutes. Read the research papers, read the review articles, read the case studies. Now, the major problem in reading is students directly target the entire research study. They don't understand the complex methodological part, and they lose their confidence, they lose the motivation. That's boring. Yes, it will be boring. Just concentrate on the introduction and the conclusion part. Try to
Yes.
understand the nature of the disease, try to understand how it can be prevented, what are the precautions, and a little pathology of the disease, like how it can affect several lives. That's all is needed. That's
Right.
it. If you want to get like updated with the if you want to get updated with the emerging trends. Second is third is collaboration and networking, which is very important. Networking
Okay.
plays an important role. you know it can give you various opportunities. So networking through hands-on training, like there are institutions who provides hands-on training internships. There are online forums, there are regional meetings. When you attend some conferences, do not just sit at one chair. Go and
Move
talk to other
around.
people. As I always say, like, if anybody is from a public health arena, and as I said, it's public. Many people think that I'm a veterinarian, why I should go and talk to the environmental scientist. You
Mhm.
never know how it will open doors of opportunities for you.
Right.
Everything is interconnected, whether it is a human doctor, it is a public health official, it is an environmental coordinator or scientist. Everybody is interconnected to each other in some way. So networking is very important. Whenever you get chance, and there are students who attend various conferences, don't do it for certificates. Many of us just do it so that we will have a bunch of certificates to add in our CV. you know
Right.
what you will do with that participation certificates? And I would say it's not the fault of students, because they are taught in this way. I was taught
Mm.
by my seniors that go and attend conferences so that you will get a certificate. Nobody tells me that you go there and you network with the people, you collaborate with them, you talk about, because suppose you are going in some regional meeting, you met a professor or you met a scientist where you are discussing your research goals, that I want to work on this pathogen, I have this plan. Doesn't matter, you, even if you do not have the proper methodology right there framed inside your mind, it's okay, just go and talk to them, that I want to I want to work, and my aim is to research on this pathogen, and I'm looking for the prevention, because I believe there is just one vaccine approved by FDA right now, and it will be better if we can work on this. Leave about all the technical part,
Right.
but if they will see that that passion and enthusiasm in you can get the opportunity to collaborate with them. So networking is very important.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Now, this is a very important question. What role do you believe artificial intelligence and data analytics can play in improving veterinary public health?
See, I would say that artificial intelligence, it has a transformative potential in the veterinary science,
Okay.
from disease prevention to surveillance to resource optimization. Artificial intelligence plays a very transformative role.
Yes.
How? With the AI powered tools, now scientists are predicting and forecasting the disease, the zoonotic diseases. You can make the highly advanced analysis by the data analysis tools about that particular disease. You know, the weather
Okay.
change, the climate change. You can even trace the animal movements. You can trace the incidence of any disease. You can trace the prevalence of any disease. So, AI powered tools are working wonderfully on tracing the prediction of any disease, or I would say forecasting any disease. You know, Second, AI powered tools, you see, they have a major role in medical imaging and diagnostics, right? um, the, Nowadays, like I was reading one research paper where it was with the AI powered tools or with the AI algorithms, you can trace down the myxomatous mitral valve condition in canines. You can trace down the lameness in sheeps. You can trace down, or you can have the accurate data of how much a cancer cell is dividing inside an animal. So AI
Interesting.
algorithm plays a major part in medical imaging and diagnostic. The more accurate and quicker the diagnostic is, the more quicker will be the containment and prevention of the disease.
All right. Okay.
Third, I would say AI has a wonderful role in customized treatment. In developed countries, doctors or physicians, they are using these AI power tools, where they customize the entire treatment plan, because every patient you encounter is different.
Right.
The physiological process is different. Every, like, maybe a veterinarian is working with say 5 dogs, but not every dog works in the same way. Every
Yeah, yeah.
breed is
Yes,
different,
yes, exactly.
and they have different internal process. So they can customize different treatment plans and accurate treatment plans, that what it is required, so that I can track down this disease, and I can make that animal healthy again, and I can be a better vet to that patient.
You're right.
These are the things. Secondly, I would say that in AI has again a wonderful role in resource optimization and resource allocation, especially in the low income countries and middle income countries. you know
Okay. All
yeah.
right.
And when a research is based on evidence, and when a research is based on taking into account the high risk factors, so you can track down the high risk zones where actual intervention is needed. So in the low income countries or middle income countries, you can better allocate the resources where they are needed the most. So AI has a role in that. uh, and as you talked previously about antibiotic resistance,
Yes,
now
AMR.
there,
Yes.
yes, now there are AI tools where you can limit the use of antibiotics, you know because antibiotic resistance is a major threat.
It is. Yes.
So
Superbugs
with
and all. Yeah.
yes, so with the data analysis, with the advanced analytics, you can trace the strains, the bacterial strains or the pathogenic strains which are becoming antibiotic resistance, so that we can limit the use of antibiotics. You know, because any public health challenge, it requires a sustainable, integrated, holistic, and proactive approach. So yeah.
I have questions related to like publication and all. Right. AI plagiarism is a big thing. On one hand, we are talking about integrating artificial intelligence in our services, and on the other hand, we are talking about artificial intelligence plagiarism in publication and all. Right. In a big journal, it was in the conclusion. It was from uh, Ivy League college, which was
Hmm.
published, and I you might have heard it that in the conclusion, as an AI model, I cannot answer this question. What's your take on this? Like, should we accept a completely run AI project by the publications as we are moving towards? Because it makes your papers, it makes your writing very much easier. Right? What's your take on this? Like, I know it's a 50-50 thing. So
Yeah.
please, this is a very personal question to me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I believe you can definitely leverage the technology. You can make use of the technological resources, but you always try to write down your own research findings. If you try to write down in your own words, you know, that is the correct approach. Because yes, the people, sometimes people just go on the AI tools, they copy paste the entire information, and there is plagiarism, right? Uh, Sometimes people get caught up with that, sometimes they do not.
Yes.
that is doing no good to you, because people are not getting knowledge from that, they are just copy pasting the entire information. You can get certain number of publication citations, but there is always a high risk that you will be caught,
Not
you know,
yes.
and that can ruin your entire career, and it could snatch away the license you might have worked very hard for that.
Okay.
So your entire career is at stake. I personally do not like to copy paste everything from the AI. Yes, do use AI tools to grab certain information,
Right.
and to get an idea that how to write a certain segment,
Right.
how I can present the certain subject into my own words, or what are your thoughts on it. A
Exactly.
human mind is the most beautiful thing, because
Yes.
you have all the creativity, you have all the potential to think more and more about it. AI tools, they can only provide you information,
Which
uh,
is there.
yeah, which is there, which is already fed into the system, which is already
Yes.
coded into
They
the
are
AI.
trained on.
Yeah, but then yeah, I don't personally recommend like taking down all the information and writing, especially your journals and articles for the research publications, everything copy pasting from AI. No, that's a big risk. That's a very big risk. And people do it for that moment, because they don't realize that what serious implication they will have in the future if they
Right.
will caught, you know. So take down the information, because it's a wonderful technology,
Yes.
but don't rely on it.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Okay. Great. Use AI wisely.
wisely,
N-
mindfully, consciously.
Yes. Yes. Now, this is a very good question, and how to work with WHO, CDC, WH, or other such agencies.
Okay, so first I would say, mm, always um, always see that what are their mission. Like if you target any organization, always first see what is their mission and their priorities, you know, and then you can make yourself familiar that which area or subject you really want to target. For example, WHO, it basically works on the yeah, it works on the overall health security, world health security, and it also works on one health, you know. So that is the one thing that WHO targets. On the other hand, if you see CDC, CDC focuses more on disease prevention and control.
Yes.
In US, it is disease control and prevention, along with the global partnerships. If you see WOAH, which was formerly known as OIE,
Why?
yeah, WOAH, which is World Organization for Animal Health. If you see that, they focuses more on the international trade policies and animal health regulation and standards.
Yes.
So, what area a student wants to work, whether you want to be working more on the control and prevention part, or you want to target the policies for the zoonotic disease, and then target the areas that, okay, I want to work with WHO, CDC, or WOAH. Then there are various, what do you say, capacity building programs which these
Okay.
organizations offer. Capacity building programs in the form of internship, in the form of specialized training, in the form of fellowships, in the form of funding your research project, in the form of short term studies. So these are capacity building programs which these organizations offer. You know, you can write down your research proposal, and on the website you will see that they fund certain research, but your research proposal should align their interest, you know.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So any health challenge or any area in the public health you're targeting, that should be at the global setting, I would say. And
All
then you
right.
can reach out to the organization, and they, yes, they respond, they fund your research, they have grants, and you can make use of the resources. If you are not interested in the research part, you can go and do a short-term internship projects with them. Internships really help in building the collaboration, building the networking,
King.
you know.
Right.
Yeah, so that is one thing, working with all these organizations. Also, I forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, like just few days ago, I got to know that University of Bern in Switzerland,
Yes,
it has
yes.
advanced. It has CAS, which is uh, it is some specialized short training course in public health,
Okay.
a critical advanced sciences course in One Health. So University of Bern just published few days ago. So look out for these short-term courses, and I don't think so. The fee structure is it's like, very expensive. It's, I think it's easily affordable if one wants to build, because if you are doing a short-term study for say 1 year, 2 year, in some short courses, that gives you a lot of opportunities for exploring that university, for exploring other domains.
Right.
And public health, it's a cross sectoral project, it's a cross sectoral field, right? So you bring the experts from all the domains, from the environment, from the animal science, from the human science. And such internships or short term projects or studies, they give you very good opportunities to explore. So first,
Right.
target your priorities and their mission. And if it aligns well, there are various capacity building programs and you can go for that.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Now we have come to an end. Your career spans research, education, and policy. What's one story or experience that you feel best capture the essence of your journey so far?
What's that one experience that?
Captures the essence or the of the your journey so far. Like what's that moment? Okay, yes, this is something I want to relive, or like I want to like make it 10x
Okay.
of your professional journey so far.
In my entire professional journey, I have realized one thing. I realized very late in my life. I'm very happy I realized that happiness and mental peace is the greatest luxury. Nothing can be more beautiful than your happiness and your mental peace. Always go for the path in your profession that makes you happy and that you can commit for a lifelong period of time, which you can take it for a long run, not for a short interval of time. Many students, many of us, we make some hasty decisions, in that moment of heat. We do not realize the later implications, we do not realize the later challenges. But it is very, very important to see that if you can carry that project in a long term, you know
Mm,
um, everything is temporary, nothing is permanent. And but in that moment, while we are searching for PhD or say any job hunt, we just try to stick to that moment thinking that I will take this lifelong. It doesn't happen like that. So I'm very happy and I'm really proud of myself. Doesn't matter how many people try to put me down. Doesn't matter how many people uh, try to demean me, to make me feel horrendous. I'm very happy and I'm very proud of myself for quitting where most of the people do not quit. I feel that uh, I have that consciousness. I
okay.
can think logically and I can take my own decisions and I can quit from the toxic environments. Not everybody has the opportunity and not everybody is blessed with this critical thinking that you have to, that it's time now to leave the toxic environments. So happiness and mental peace, I'm like, I will stick to that. Doesn't matter which profession I go. Like right now I am at Rice University getting this special training in health policy. I'm very happy to share my knowledge and my expertise in future. I would be very happy working with any say private sector, public sector, with any government. If I can give my 100%, if I can give my knowledge and put my skills into that, I would be happy to do that. But I will always give priority to my happiness and mental peace. So
Indeed.
yeah.
Indeed. For aspiring veterinarians and public health advocate, what message to those who dream of making an impact like you? What's one thing that you will tell them ki hold on to this thing after mental health and happiness?
Listen to your internal instincts. They tell you a lot. Listen to your instincts. Many a times our hearts speak to us. We don't try to listen ourselves. We try to just sweep that under a rug, that
Mm,
it's okay. Profession works like this, it's okay. The scientific community works like this. No, if you're happy, you will be confident enough to take any challenge of life, and you will be brilliant and doing the extraordinary stuff in any profession. So I would say, listen to your instincts.
right,
Do not feel ashamed of, if you are feeling any off foul vibes, if you are experiencing any mental or emotional abuse, do not feel ashamed of talking about your experiences to other people, but talk to the people who support you. Don't talk to the people who will go and badmouth about you, who will do the back
right,
bitching about you, right?
right.
So choose people, like it is said, like you choose your friends carefully, but choose your enemies more
Enemies more
carefully.
carefully.
So you have to decide, like, who are the people you want to keep in your circle. So don't feel ashamed of talking about that. Don't feel ashamed of standing on your own grounds and speaking up for yourself. Always speak for yourself. you know Maybe at this moment there are some elder people, or there are some professors, or maybe uh, there is somebody who is dragging you down, making you feel like shit, but that doesn't decide your worth. So do not decide your worth based on what other people tell you or narrate your story. You do not become what others tell you.
Right. You
You
become
decide
what
your
you
own
want
worth.
to.
Yeah, and just keep going. See, life is like a river. You will have many hard rock collisions, but
Yes.
you keep going. See,
Yeah.
so you have to flow like a river. You have to
Right.
flow, and
You'll have to swim. You'll need to
yeah.
keep yourself afloat.
Yeah, and sometimes your journey will be like, sometimes your swim will be
Very
seen as,
tough.
yes, you are making some progress. Sometimes it will be seen as you're not making a progress. But I will always say that even in the silent days, even in those days where you feel that I'm not doing enough, you are doing enough. You are making your roots more stronger. You are becoming more resilient. you know
Yes.
and do not put that gown of, I have to be resilient, I have to be powerful mentally, because we don't speak of the mental health challenges we suffer.
Right.
Speak about themselves and find a solution to them. The only solution is look out for the positive things. Keep going. What other people are saying for you, how this person is demeaning me, these are very short and temporary things. Life is, I would say, life is too fast and too precious to not live it fully.
Mm,
I realized very late in life that life is beautiful. We just start living very late. You know, we kill the entire young age. We burn ourselves for achieving that ambition, to achieve that title, and very late you realize that it was not about the title. It was all you were doing, maybe for the societal expectations, not for yourself. So
right.
keep evolving, keep hunting, see every setback as an opportunity to grow. You know,
Learn from your setbacks.
don't self pity about the scars you have.
Yeah.
They are the blueprints of your victories, which are yet to come.
Great. Great. Thank you so much for doing this conversation, talking about mental health issues, guiding students about PhD and all the expectations they need to have. They need to be in reality, right? Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving us the time and opportunity and to discuss all these things. And all the best
In
for
fact,
your
I
future.
should thank you. I should thank you. Like, I feel
No,
honored, and if I can make myself available for, for the betterment of the society, and if I can help anybody, I would always be happy to do that.
you
And I'm
you
always.
you you did a lot today only by coming to the Geek Veterinarian to talk about all these important issues, your journey, first of all, right? Your PhD, like no one wants to talk about why they quit, right? And then you talked about mental health issues. So you did, and hopefully you will help inspire a lot other people who are going through that dark phase, and they and they this will be their sign to, okay, I'm done with this and I'm going. So you did your part, and
Oh,
you
also,
made.
I don't know if we spoke on racism and all. I don't know.
No, we didn't do.
Yeah,
There was a little bit. Yeah, we will
yeah, but
some other time.
yeah, I'll just say two, three sentences. You can always like cut that part and
Yeah,
incorporate.
yeah, sure, sure.
So there is also a lot of racism in foreign countries. Uh, International students, they are the easy target for all the racism. You
Yes,
sometimes you will encounter people who will directly say on your face that you Indians are everywhere. Why don't you go to your home countries? Aren't there institutions where you can pursue your PhD? Why you are here?
right.
So be ready mentally to
Yes.
encounter that and become like, just let go of that thing.
How
Stick
to
on to your
tackle?
dream.
How to tackle, like, if a random uncle or auntie or even a professor from the university saying how to tackle with that thing?
Again, either become resilient or come out and speak. Sometimes you
Be the
have to stand.
whistleblower.
Yes, but most of the students, they are scared because in a foreign land you don't want to be a
Yes,
whistleblower.
right. Yeah.
Culture is very new. There is a cultural
Mm,
shock.
yes.
So either become resilient, just let go of the thing, ignore the thing, and move on. And I would say, but once ignoring is good, twice ignoring, it's like you are a
Okay.
fool.
Yeah.
So if that's happening again and again, go and talk to people, because there are various supportive organizations that
Organizations.
support you.
Yes.
Yeah, you can go and talk to them, and they will definitely they will come out with you, they will support you, and you can always have their back. So
Right.
stand out for yourself and speak up for yourself. When you will
Right.
say that, I know I'm from a foreign country, I know I'm brown, but still
Yes.
I'm not ready to give up on my dreams,
Right.
yeah, they'll be quiet.
Great. 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 Thank you for your interest in veterinary medicine. Signing off.